Mikiahya Greene. You're an athlete, student, coach, speaker, model, domestic violence survivor, and adaptive athlete after being shot and paralyzed in 2023. How would you describe the life you're building now in a few sentences?
I would say the life I'm building now is very purpose driven, authentic, and fun
Yeah.
altogether, just fun.
Awesome. Well, yeah, we're gonna get into your whole story of how you got became paralyzed, all the stuff that you're doing now with adaptive sports and modeling and all that. So, for those who don't know you, who are you?
I think you did a really good job introducing me.
Okay.
But yeah, I'm Mikiahya Greene. I'm a student athlete. I'm a survivor.
Mm-hmm.
I'm an adventurer, a coach,
Yeah.
a Jill of all trades.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Awesome. And then can you get into how we know each other?
Yes, so I originally, I believe, met you from Iron Core, I
Mhm.
think, and then we just had a bunch of mutuals like Dan, Jake, just a few different things that kind of brought us together.
Yeah. Yeah. How long have you been doing Iron Core for?
I want to say this was my 3rd year that I
Okay.
did it.
Okay. I think this is my 3rd year as well,
Mhm.
but I'm not 100% sure. It might be my 2nd
I
year,
was gonna
but
say it's either my 2nd or 3rd, but
yeah.
I remember you from my 1st year doing it.
Yeah, yeah. And so we just had I just had the basically the founder of Iron Core, Dan Scheid
Mhm.
on the podcast. And so if you guys want to check that out after this one, what are your thoughts on Iron Core?
I really enjoy Iron Core. I get matched up with some really good trainers and
Yeah.
they know how I like to push myself. So I always gain a decent bit out of it. And I think that it's good that they just pull everyone together and kind of push them to their own limits and kind of get them where they need to be a little bit more independent or
Yeah.
just a little more confident.
Yeah, I told Dan, I love Iron Core, except I have one complaint, and that complaint was it doesn't go year round.
Yeah, that's definitely, I wish it did. I don't know. I feel like I never get enough time in
I know.
those couple weeks, but it's always worth it. So
Yeah, yeah, it is. I actually, got like, my head issue started when I was bench pressing at Iron Core, so, I don't know, it's a really crazy thing. Okay, and then, if we weren't here in studio today, where would you be?
right now, it's a Sunday. Well, packing up for a trip. I'm leaving for Europe next Sunday, a
Oh,
week from
snap.
today. So I would be packing up, but I kind of got that done and out the way. So
Okay.
I'm pretty excited to be here.
Awesome. Where in Europe are you going?
So I'm going to Ireland, Paris, London, Scotland, and Canada as well. So it'll be
Wow.
a fun little trip.
Are you doing it for fun? Are you competing over there or
Nope, it's a fun girls trip. I'm
okay,
really excited for it. So
cool, awesome. Okay, and then, if you could learn one skill overnight, what would it be?
I feel like it would be a language.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, it would just be a language, and honestly, any language.
Any language?
Any language.
So you'd be good learning, like, Latin or something
I'd
like
be
that?
if I can learn it overnight, then yes.
Yeah, okay, yeah, that's interesting. I traveled overseas when I was younger playing tennis, and I think one of the reasons I tried to get as fluent as possible in Spanish,
Mhm.
and it's nowhere near where I want it to be, but, that was one of my motivations is experiencing that language gap
Yeah.
and all that. It's so cool to, like, connect with different cultures and, like, especially here in the US, like, if I start speaking Spanish as a white dude, like, people that speak the language are like, "What? You
Yeah,
speak Spanish?" Like, kinda shocked, so, what are you studying in school right now?
communication.
Okay,
So I just finished my associate's program. I graduated on the 1st, and then I start my bachelor's program in the fall,
okay,
and I'm really excited about that, but it's communication.
cool, and what do you wanna do with that?
Public speaking.
Okay,
So I wanna get into advocacy work. So I feel like I've done a little bit, like I've spoken here and there at different schools
yeah,
and then like with the news and little things like that, which I guess they're not little. They're cool, really cool things.
Yeah,
But I want to get into a bigger public speaking advocacy role.
awesome.
So,
Okay, and as far as advocacy, like you have a domestic violence story, and you also are disabled. I imagine the one of those two things or both, or
yeah, ideally both. I feel like I might end up getting stuck or like more pulled to one side,
yeah,
but I'd like to do both because I feel like both need their own recognition
right.
and they need to be stories need to be told. So,
Yeah, and it's also like you can't really tell one without the other, you know?
exactly.
Like, they kinda go hand in hand for your
Mhm.
story, so it wouldn't make sense just to talk domestic violence or just disability.
Exactly.
So, interesting. Okay. Well, I do have some fun disability questions that are, like, kinda nuanced that I wanna get into a little bit later, so, okay, everybody, welcome to the Rolling Forward podcast, a podcast of people who keep rolling forward no matter what life throws at them. Real people, real stories, followed by purpose, resilience, and a drive that never ends. I'm Zach Sikora. Spina bifida didn't stop me. It just gave me a better excuse to sit down while I take over the world. Today's funny T-shirt is, it's Mikiahya. Can you read that for me?
Yeah, it says, "You know what I can't stand? You know what I can't stand? Punctuation matters."
Yeah, so it's, you know what? I can't stand. You know what I can't stand? Actually, it's, I think that's reversed. You know what I can't stand? And then it's, you know what? I can't stand. And then
Yeah.
it says punctuation matters. So, pretty funny. You can get the shirt at my t-shirt store. It's rollingforward.printful.me. If you've got a shirt that you fits the theme of what I'm doing, please throw it in the comments. I'd love to hear from you. Also, as Mikiahya and I talk, feel free to throw out any questions or anything like that. I respond to all of them, and obviously I'm in communication with Mikiahya to ask her if it's specific to her as well. So, okay, now let's keep rolling into today's episode with Mikiahya Greene. Okay, Mikiahya, so I want to get into a little bit of your disability story. Can you explain what your disability is and briefly explain how it happened?
Yeah, so I am a T4 SCI, spinal cord injury, and then I am a grade B incomplete. So originally it was a grade A complete injury, and then about like 6 months after I initially was injured, I started regaining a little bit of feeling, but not much. So it switched from complete A to incomplete B. But basically, I have no feeling from like this line right here,
Yeah.
and that's motory and sensory, but, like, my sensory's gone down just a little bit so I can feel, like, right around my belly button area, but that's about it.
Okay.
So I am
Real quick, can you feel down to your belly button, or is it just around that spot?
so down to my belly button, but it's really weird because I don't feel, like, hot and cold. I can't decipher hot and cold, but I can say, like, "Oh, that's a temperature." I just can't tell you which one it is. And then I don't feel, like, light touch like this, but I feel pressure. So it's
Yeah.
really weird. I feel like it changes all the time, every single day. So
Yeah, interesting.
it's
Okay.
very, I don't know, I learn something new about my body every single day, and it's so weird, but it's kind of cool at the same time. I don't know.
Yeah.
It's got its own story.
Yeah, Abby Marsh, who's paralyzed, basically from the neck down. She has some function of her arms. She was saying one of her party tricks is she can tell what toe you're touching.
Mhm.
So it's like, man, it's kind of wild to like just hear about different people's stories and all that. So, okay, so can you just briefly explain how it
Yeah.
happened?
So, I am a survivor of gun violence and domestic violence. I was in a relationship for about 6 months, and it was not a very healthy relationship. It was a
Mhm.
domestic relationship, and it didn't end very well. I was shot June 22nd of 2023 in my house, and it just resulted in me being paralyzed pretty much instantly,
Yeah.
and I went to the hospital, came out, and I've been, like, in my chair living ever since.
Yeah, awesome. In you, it was your partner that shot you.
Correct,
Okay,
yes.
we'll get into the more of the details. I just wanted to kind of tease that a little bit with everybody. Um, I was gonna ask. So you were oh, I'll actually get into that later. So talk to me about, like, the recovery and stuff like that briefly.
So
Like, how long did it take and
yeah, I'd say I had a very quick recovery, pretty smooth recovery, actually.
okay.
So I was rushed into the hospital pretty much immediately.
Mm.
I was in, what is it? The like emergency room, like what
Uh,
is
I
ICU?
yeah,
Yeah.
ICU, yeah.
I was there for like 24 hours and then I was in the hospital room like recovering for a week. And then after that, I was sent to Drake Rehab, which is no longer, they're not doing rehab anymore, which kind of makes me sad.
Oh.
But I was in the hospital
Is that
for
is that in Cincinnati?
mhm,
Okay.
7 days, and then I was sent to rehab for 2 weeks,
Oh.
and then I was sent home. I
Whoa.
didn't have any surgeries.
Really?
Yeah, it's always like when I talk to people about that, they're always like, "Wait, you didn't have anything?" And then it was really quick. They had originally wanted me to stay in rehab for like, I wanna say like a month. I wanna say around a month, and I was like, "I got 2 weeks for you. Tell me what I gotta do, and I'll do it." And
Uh,
I just had an intense, like, recovery. It was very quick, and I was back in my home within, less than a month.
whoa.
Mhm.
That's insane, and so, after that, I assume you went through, like, physical therapy and stuff like that?
Yeah, so I had continued physical therapy. I still, like, to this day will get occasional physical therapy, but they usually, like, graduate me out pretty quick. They're like, "You hit all your goals.
Oh,
There's only so much we can do." But,
okay.
I did physical therapy afterwards when I had went home. I didn't do occupational,
Mhm.
but when I was, like, in rehab, I did.
Okay, interesting.
So
And I assume you said no surgery, but I assume you had to get stitched up in some way, right?
So they actually, because, the bullet had went in my shoulder from the back
Yeah.
and then went down and shattered my T6 and T7, lodged itself.
Oh,
So it's still there, like, to this day. So
wow.
they didn't remove it, and they were like, "Well, we'll just leave it open to heal," and literally, we left the wound open, and it healed up really quick.
Wow.
It was so it was very, like, surprising to me too because I was like, "Well, you're not gonna, like, do it? You're just gonna leave it? Like, what are we gonna do?" And they were like, "Nope, you're just gonna keep on going." So, it was a smooth recovery.
Okay, and you obviously, since you didn't have surgery, you don't have, like, rods in your back or
Nope.
anything like that. Wow.
I did end up, like, a year after because I have some crazy spasms, I got a baclofen pump,
Okay,
which was, like, a surgery by choice, it wasn't a surgery I had to get,
sure.
so that's the only procedure I've really had to get since my original injury, which I'm very grateful for.
Interesting. So a fun question that I usually like to ask, anybody who's disabled is, how do you drive?
Hand controls.
You have hand controls.
Yeah, so, actually, my hand controls were gifted to me by my coach,
Oh,
Jake
awesome.
Counts.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it
Wow.
was awesome. So, it's a funny story because he became my coach, like, after I had already known him, so him and my mom are, like, childhood friends.
No.
Yeah, so my mom had reached out to him, like, while I was still in the hospital, I think,
Wow.
and was like, "What do we need to do?" And he was just, like, instant mentor, like, was there, and I'm so grateful for Jake, he's done a lot.
Yeah.
And he was like, "Well, you drive, don't you?" And I'm like, "Yeah." He's like, "Well, here's some hand controls. They're pretty much you'll figure it out, you'll learn how to do it." And I was driving in a couple months after I had originally gotten shot. It was a couple
Wow.
months, and I was back in the car driving, and that was one thing that gave me a lot of independence. I was
Of
so
course.
tired of being, like, stuck in the, like, bed and not being able to do so much. I was like, "I just wanna drive." And he got me some hand controls, and I've been using the same ones ever since.
That's awesome. Yeah, it's interesting. I've talked to a lot of people, Jake and Mozzie being a few of those people who have gotten injured, and then it's not until much, much later in life that they get into adaptive sports and stuff like that. So, as a new injury from just so everybody knows, it's very uncommon for like somebody to get into adaptive sports, as soon as you did.
Yeah.
Of course, Jake, who's heavily involved in adaptive sports, is like a great person to like have in your corner right as soon as you get injured. So it's I don't know about you, but like adaptive sports kind of changed my life and has made it so much better as far as my mental state and all that.
Yeah, I've been an athlete pretty much my entire life.
Ah,
I've always been sporty, I've always been active, so I did hop into the adaptive sports pretty quick. I think Jake pulled me into, like, a Dragons practice a couple months, I wanna say, like, 3 months, 4 maybe 4 months after everything happened, and he's like,
wow.
"Just check it out and see," and I tried it. I didn't go back for a very long time, but then right after that, I tried, like, skiing, and so I was
Yeah.
injured in June. I was doing skiing in, like, December, February, something between December and February.
Wow.
So, like, 6 months after my injury, I was doing that, and then I'm pretty sure I competed in my first flying pig race, the 10K. That May. So less than a year, I had done a few different sports and I was just trying different things. And I think me being an athlete previously kind of just pushed me to like, you can still do this. They're showing you how to do it. So just try it.
Mm.
And I did. And it definitely changed my life.
Did you experience any like sort of pride? Like a lot of times with like single amputees, like they refuse to like get in a chair and play a wheelchair sport because they have too much pride that they're able to walk and they don't want to get in a chair. I know you're not able to walk, but did you have any like sense of like, oh, that's beneath me type of thing?
I feel like no,
Okay.
but I'm kind of stubborn.
Yeah.
So I feel like instead I was more so like, I did this before, I'm gonna do it now.
Yeah.
I'm gonna do it again.
Yeah.
Or if I faced a challenge or I'm like, I don't know how I'm gonna ski in that seated ski. I don't know how I'm gonna make that work.
Right.
But I'm stubborn, so I'm like, I'm gonna figure out how to do it and I'm gonna try it at least to say I did it and
Yeah.
give it what I got.
Yeah, that's awesome. And the ski that you use, it's a sit ski, of course. Sometimes there's 2 skis that you sit on, sometimes there's 1. Which did you use?
2.
You
I'm
used 2.
pretty sure I used 2.
Okay.
I think 1 takes a little bit more balance.
Yeah.
I'm not 100 I'm pretty sure I used 2 though. I still am using 2.
Yeah,
So,
yeah, sure. Yeah, I would guess that based on your disability, so, like, a lot of times people with 1 ski on the bottom, they have a lot more trunk control, and
mhm.
because of your injury level, you don't really have much trunk.
Yeah, no.
Yeah. So, okay, interesting. Well, thanks for talking about that. We'll get into a lot of a lot more details later. One thing that I wanted to mention was um the line between helping somebody and not helping them. And I'm curious with your journey of being injured in 2023, do you think that there was a level of um like let me back up just slightly. I think in the adaptive world, a lot of people see a wheelchair and they don't want to see like any sort of struggle. And so I think a lot of people then will like coddle somebody maybe too much to their detriment to where they can't get as independent as possible or something along those lines.
Mm.
Did you see that when you were going through rehab and all that?
Yes, I definitely did. I definitely noticed it a lot, and it was from, like, everybody too, like,
Uh,
even some family, like because everyone wants to help.
yeah,
Everyone wants to Some people want to feel like they're helping, and some people wanna help because they really wanna help, and then a lot of people just don't understand that we are still trying to be independent. Like, there are things that we can do, and, like, we can manage to do a lot, and
yeah,
at least, like, in my situation, I was able to do a lot more than I had thought and than other people had thought, and
yeah,
then I just have progressively grown more and more independent.
yeah,
But as I grew a little bit more independent, I noticed people, like, wanting to help, and I'm like, "Well, I can do it now." So, like, I appreciate it, but, like, I can do it, and I should be doing it because I need to have that independence. I
Yeah.
need to be able to do that. So it's a very fine line of helping and then, like, just overstepping a little bit where
Yeah.
it's like, "No, like, I understand it might be quicker and we might be able to get it done if you do help me, but with me doing it, not only is it still getting done, but it's building 1, character, 2, strength, 3, independence,
Yeah.
which are all needed."
Right. Yeah. I love that. And I was gonna kind of predict, like I was one of those people. I have spina bifida, so it's a birth defect, right? And I growing up, like I hated people pushing me. And I was just like, no, don't push me.
Mhm.
And like I refused a lot of help. And it seems like you're very similar to that too. And
Yeah, I've definitely turned a lot of help down,
yeah,
but then I definitely have my days where I'm like, I'm not my 100% is not what it was yesterday,
sure.
and I need help getting the chair in the car today, but, like, for the most part, I've done a lot, and I've seen many people are like, "Okay, well, you've got it, you rock, like, go you, good
Yeah.
for you," and then I've also seen people get, like, angry because I'm like, "I don't want the help," and I'm like, "It's okay, though, like, you don't have to get angry, like, I'm doing it just like you are, so."
Yeah, yeah, yeah. That's interesting. Thanks for sharing. Okay, so let's get into the podcast question. What keeps you rolling forward?
I'd say my is unwillingness a word?
Yeah,
My unwillingness
I think so.
to quit.
Okay.
I am just I'm very much I try to push myself. I try to just be a little bit better each day,
Mhm.
and I am in a competition with myself.
Okay.
So I am always trying to like be the best version of myself. So although my like strengths look different every single day, like I just try to show up. And my stubbornness kind of pushes me. I'm like,
Yeah,
yeah, just keep going. Like
yeah,
you got it. You're in competition with you. Just keep on doing everything that you can. And me just constantly trying to push myself and see like the brighter side and everything
yeah.
keeps me going.
Are you generally a positive person?
Yeah.
You sound like it. Yeah.
Mhm.
Okay. Interesting. What would you say the best version of yourself looks like?
Showing up even when it's hard,
Yeah.
through thick and thin, and giving my 100% authentically.
Yeah. You know what's interesting as a kid and even probably in my early adult life, consistency wasn't necessarily something that's like been like top of the virtue ladder, if you will. But like the more adult I become, I guess, the more I've been through being an adult, the more I've realized consistency is probably one of the most important virtues that you could possibly have
Mhm.
because without consistency, you're not going to get anywhere.
Yeah.
And so anyway, I thought that was that's I guess the takeaway from what I heard you say. So, what's one mindset or tool that you use to help keep you rolling forward?
Just keep swimming, like
Just
Dory
keep
said.
going.
Yeah,
Yes,
I'm constantly telling myself, like, "Just keep swimming,
I love
just keep pushing, just keep swimming, just keep pushing," like, constantly,
yeah,
and it's honestly gotten me through more than I thought it would,
yeah,
so I'm gonna stick to it and keep using it.
I love that. How old were you when Finding Nemo came out?
Oh, I don't even know. Did it come out in the '90s or the early
I
2000s?
have no idea. It doesn't matter. I was
Yeah,
just curious.
but
Like,
it's like a staple childhood memory,
yeah,
and so I've always related to Dory, and I
yeah, yeah,
definitely think I'm a Dory,
yeah.
so
There you go.
but it's gotten me through a lot, especially when I'm, like, in sporting events and I'm, like, ready to give up. I'm like, just keep swimming,"
Yeah.
and I keep swimming.
Yeah, well, I mean, I'm sure, like, stuff like the flying pig, it's just a grind that you have to get through, right?
Yeah, just keep on going.
Yeah. Um, what's one of the best pieces of advice you've ever received?
When I was newly injured and still in rehab, I think I was in rehab at the time.
Uh-huh.
I don't know who said it, but it's stuck with me ever since. And they were like, it doesn't get easier, but you get stronger.
Yes.
And it has gotten me through a lot because I think I even was talking about it this morning with my mom, and I was like, I remember when they told me, like, it doesn't get easier, but you get stronger. And I was like, yeah, because this is not easy.
Mm.
And just knowing that no, it doesn't. It really doesn't. And some things like you'll get quicker at, you'll get better at, but it doesn't make that easy. Just makes you stronger for getting through it and continuing to push.
Yeah.
And I think that that's helped me a lot. And I think that just keeping that in mind, like you're a lot stronger than you think you are.
Yeah.
And you've made it this far. So, like, you're going to keep making it. You just got to keep pushing.
Yeah. Do you use that philosophy when, like, you're down, let's say, or when you have a low point?
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Because I think that we all have our moments. I definitely have mine, and I'm like, "All right." Like, you knew that it wasn't gonna get easier.
Right.
Like, you already accepted that.
Right.
But, like, you've seen brighter days, like, the good stuff comes, and you're strong enough to face this wave.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. I love that. What role so, to add context to this, one of the things that in my early adult life and even as a kid that I tried to avoid was failure, and I'm curious, what role has failure played in your life?
I think definitely before my injury and maybe even, like, early on,
Mhm.
I was afraid of failure.
Yeah.
And it definitely, like, made me not even wanna attempt things.
Right.
And then once I kinda broke my first little, like, barrier and I was like, "You know what? No." Because fear is like I have a fear tattoo actually, and it says, "Face everything and rise."
Oh,
And I was like, "You know what? No, face everything and rise
yeah.
because the only thing that I can really fail at is not trying. Like
Right.
that by not trying, I'm failing.
Yeah.
So I'm learning from everything else that I'm doing. So just try it. The worst thing that can happen is it doesn't go the way I wanted it to, and I still learn something from it, or it can go phenomenally.
Yeah.
So now I'm in a much better I try a lot more. I'm the yes man. I am the yes man. You ask me to do it, I'm like, "Yeah, I'll do it. I'll
Yeah.
try it." And I think that that's honestly changed my perspective on life,
Mm.
and it's gotten me into some really cool experiences,
Yeah.
and I've learned so much that now I don't wanna avoid anything. I don't wanna be afraid and not do anything anymore because there's so much good that can come out of so much.
Yeah, yeah. I heard somebody say once, if you're not failing, you're not doing hard enough things.
Mhm.
And I just, I love that quote. And it's something that I think a lot of people kind of shy away from failure, right? And it's one of the things that I want to do on my podcast is kind of like turn failure into maybe a positive. Like obviously
Mhm.
you don't want to fail as long as you're trying and giving 100% and then failing and then learning from your mistakes to get better, like that's where the failure comes in where like failure is some of the best learning experiences you could possibly have.
Yeah, and I feel like there's such a, negative what is it, connotation?
Yeah.
Negative connotation around failure,
Yeah.
which, you teach everyone, "Oh, failure, that's horrible." Like, you get a failing grade, obviously, that's not a good thing, but,
Right.
you get feedback and you get so much out of every experience, I feel like we just have to be a little bit more open-minded to it,
Yeah.
how do you perceive failure?
Right, right. Exactly. I totally agree with that. Okay, let's get into your adaptive sports journey, the bridge, UC, and competition.
Mhm.
So talk to us about what sports. Let's do this. Talk about what sports you've tried and and then now what sports you've gravitated towards.
Okay. So the very first thing I did was basketball with Jake. I tried that one time.
Yeah.
And then I did snow skiing. I've done water
Okay.
skiing, kayaking, mountain biking, I did adaptive cheer,
Okay.
um, golf. I love golf, apparently. I never thought that I'd be a golf girl, and
Yeah.
I love golf.
Okay.
Tennis, pickleball, um, what else? Tennis, pickleball, track and field,
Yeah.
handcycling.
Okay.
Any sport that I can find, I'm like, "I'll try it, I'll do
Yeah.
it." So I just like the sports.
Yeah.
But I've stuck with hand cycling and then para track and field. Those are, like, my 2 favorite sports.
Okay.
The my best performing sports, I'd like to say,
Sure.
because I love tennis, but I am not a tennis star. I'm just not a tennis star.
Yeah. You don't have a strap on your stomach, right?
Nope.
Yeah. Okay. I was just observing and so you know have you seen Elliot? Do you remember Elliot has a strap on his he wasn't at the camp, but anyway, I think it would be beneficial if you had like a band, like a stretchable band at
Yeah.
your waist for those sports. Because that'll give you a little bit more like trunk control. It's kind of acts as like a fake trunk.
Mhm.
So, anyway, yeah. Okay, cool. And so you like the individual sports more than you like the team sports, huh?
Yeah, I think it's just because, like, I'm in competition with
Mhm.
my previous score, so I need
Yeah,
to know, like, what I have to get to keep on going, which track is kind of fun because it is, like, we're on a track and field team.
yeah,
At UC, we're on a team, there's a group of us, but we're all competing individually, and
sure.
I like that aspect.
Mm, interesting. And so what track and field events do you like the most?
So, I will compete in absolutely everything,
Okay.
from the 100 to the mile, but my favorite event is definitely the 100.
Uh-huh.
It's a short sprint.
Yeah.
I was a sprinter in high school, that's what I did was track and field, so I'm like, me and that 100, we just have a connection,
Yeah.
and it is my favorite race.
Cool. And what's your PR?
I think that I PR'd at, like, right around 18 this past season, and last year I finished at a 24.
Wow.
So I had a big jump, and that was my goal, so,
Yeah,
um
that's awesome.
mhm.
Do you happen to know what like the Paralympic record is?
Ooh, I wanna say it's, like, 15,
Okay.
right ar it might even be like 14 something, like a high
Sure.
14, but I wanna say it's, like, right around a 15,
Yeah.
and then it's, like, separated by classes too, so
Oh, right.
yeah, it's really I don't know, I'm still trying to figure all of that out, but it's
Yeah.
really cool.
Yeah. Well, so just for perspective, of anybody listening, the reason it's slower than able-bodied is because wheelchairs take a little bit longer to get started from
Mhm,
the stopped position.
mhm.
So, but what you know, you can get going pretty quick. And do you know if like the 400-meter or even the mile, I would almost imagine that wheelchair at some point gets faster than able-bodied, right?
Yeah, because I've when I see the, like, longer sport like, the longer races, their times with running times are usually a little bit quick from what I've seen, I feel like they're a little bit quicker.
Yeah,
Like, you think a fast running mile is, like, what, like, 5 minutes? And
something
I've
like
seen some crazy wheelchair racing times at, like, 4-minute
that.
miles.
Oh, okay.
So
Yeah, okay, that's kinda what I thought. What did sport give you that you needed at the time that you started and maybe even now?
I am a lot more willing to, like, put myself out there, and I'm less afraid to fail. Like, I've gotten comfortable with falling. I learned how to get myself back up, and once I did that, like, I just try everything, and I think that sports definitely gave me that, like, push,
Mhm.
and it made me realize, like, I can still do a lot.
Yeah,
And I think being an athlete before and then being put in my chair, sitting down, I'm like, "Okay, well, can I still do what can I do?" And the sports have given me that, like that strength. I'm like, "Yeah, what can't I do?"
Yeah, I love that. Yeah, so I feel the same way. Real quick, going back to you said track and field.
Mhm.
Are there field events that you do?
I don't participate in field events. I really wanna learn how to throw.
Okay.
I think that it would be so fun.
Shot put or javelin?
So, shot put is what we have at UC right now,
Okay.
but I've heard somebody else mention javelin. They were like, "I don't know, you got long limbs." And I was like, "I might be good at it. I just gotta figure it out." But I'm
Yeah.
so willing to try everything that I'm like, "Just tell me where to sign up,
Yeah.
and I'll do it."
Yeah, I think javelin, like I've done shot put. I've tried that, but I think javelin's one of those that I have not done.
Mhm.
So, um, is there any adaptive sport that you haven't done that you want to try?
I wanna do rock climbing so,
Oh,
so bad. That
okay.
is one that I have not done, and I just really want to. I think the very first year that I was able to, like, actually see it and I knew about it, it was, like, very recent after my injury, and I was like, I'm not leaving the house. I had signed up for so many different, like, sports with the bridge, and I was like, "I'll sign up, I'll go," and then the day would come and I'm like, "I can't go." So,
Oh,
like, I didn't do a bridge sport until skiing in the, like, winter time. So, like, that fall time, I was signing up and I was like, "I just can't do it, I just can't do it," but I kept signing up because I'm like, one of these days I'm gonna get the energy and I'm gonna make my way
mhm.
out." And I did not get to do rock climbing, and I've, like, regretted it ever since because I'm like, "I wanna rock climb so bad."
Yeah, yeah, cool. Yeah, I've dabbled in rock climbing. I think one of the only sports that I haven't tried is like volleyball.
Oh,
Um, but like volleyball is one of those sports where like you actually sit on the ground if you've ever seen it. And like it's from what I've gathered, it's comprised of like single amps, double amps, and like people that can like get around on the floor a little bit easier. But like I guess the rule is like if you're hitting the ball, you have to have your bum on the ground.
okay,
But you can get your bum off the ground to like go get a ball, but you just have to sit back down when you hit it
okay.
essentially. So, and I don't think there's any volleyball here in Cincinnati. So anyway, but I don't know. I think Cincinnati is like a great place to be disabled.
Yeah, there's so much opportunity.
Yeah. Yeah. There's definitely a lot of opportunity with the bridge, with Cincinnati Tennis Foundation, with the Dragons,
Mhm.
the icebreakers, hockey, all that. You've tried
I
hockey?
was gonna say that is another one that I haven't tried yet that I would like to do is sled hockey. I
Yeah.
think I would really like that, and then softball. I haven't done
Yeah.
softball yet either.
Softball for me, so I had I had ADHD growing up, and softball to me was one of those where you're waiting for the ball to get to you in the outfield, or you're waiting to bat, and it was just like too boring for me.
Mhm.
But now that I'm an adult, I wouldn't mind trying it again, and because it's a lot of it's like camaraderie and like
Yeah.
team and stuff like that. So, anyway, there's no softball in Cincinnati, right? They have one in, like, Columbus or Dayton, I think?
I'm pretty sure that well, I know that Adam Ayers, like, just recently did, like, a try it day
Oh,
for softball, but I think that they're trying to get a team together for the summer, and I could definitely be wrong, so don't quote me.
yeah.
But I'm pretty sure that they're trying to get that in the works.
Yeah, okay, cool. Yeah, I mean, if I don't hear about it, let me know if you do, and, I wouldn't mind getting started, just trying to I'm so busy, though, it's hard to, like, find time to do anything
Yeah.
else, so, what was it like getting connected with the bridge?
I love the bridge and everyone involved,
Mhm,
and, like, it will always have a special place in my heart because it's really what, like, took me out of my shell after my injury just because it my injury, like, kinda made me a little bit more reserved and
mhm,
more observant, and I'm still a little bit more observant, a little bit more softer spoken,
mhm,
but the bridge broke me out of my shell and just opened doors that I didn't even know were there.
yeah,
So, I started trying a bunch of sports, and everyone there is just so willing, happy, just I have nothing but good words about the bridge because everyone there is literally so great,
Yeah.
and they've just done so much for so many people, but especially me,
Mhm.
and I'm just forever grateful for them.
Yeah. Yeah, Danny Meyer, the head, of the bridge, he's the founder as well. He was on my podcast, so if you guys wanna go check out his podcast next, then you've got Jake Counts, who was also on the podcast. I believe he was, or at least I believe he's still the board member of the bridge, so, you can check that out. The bridge is awesome. It's cool because, like, you have the bridge, but then you also have like individual sport organizations. So like Cincinnati Tennis Foundation for
Mhm,
tennis, and then you have Dragons for basketball, and then Icebreakers for sled hockey. And I think probably those are like the three separate sports from the bridge, and then like the bridge will connect people to Cincinnati Tennis Foundation or those other organizations.
mhm.
And then they've also taken up like they've filled a whole bunch of gaps that Cincinnati didn't have as far as sports go. And then, we've started the program at UC,
Mhm.
and oh man, it's so cool to see all the opportunities that are in Cincinnati. So, um yeah, so the bridge, you kinda mentioned this, but what sports did you play with the bridge? Yeah, did you play with the bridge?
With the bridge, I did water skiing and snow skiing,
Mhm.
mountain biking, hand cycling, the adaptive cheer. I wanna say I did pickleball with the bridge.
Okay. You might have done, so we do a lot of collaborations with the bridge, the
Mhm.
Cincinnati Tennis Foundation, and I would imagine if there was pickleball involved, there's probably Cincinnati Tennis Foundation as well.
Yeah, remember because with UC, Jake's kinda took us to different tennis things too,
Yeah.
and I'm always like, "Was this with UC or was this with the bridge?"
Yeah, right. Yeah, and I've obviously connect with Jake a lot, and so you were at the most recent wheelchair tennis camp that we had,
Mhm.
and all that, which was pretty cool. We had some Paralympians come out and coach us and stuff like that. So, cool. What about UC Adaptive Athletics? What's that mean to you?
So, UC started their adaptive athletics program last year. Last year was the first year, and I was one of the founding athletes, which was pretty cool.
Yeah,
Jake Counts is the coach for track and field and tennis, and those are the 2 sports that we have there right now. I know, like, in the long run, we wanna get more sports going
yes,
so that there's just more opportunity for people that are local so that, like, they just have places to go where they can continue their athletic careers.
yeah,
But I started with the track and field team last winter. It was, like, January 13th, and that was, like, my first semester at UC,
okay,
and we started track and field, and we went to Alabama for a track meet. We had practiced and, like, trained for a couple months at that point, and it was really nice just to get back on the track because I had ran track in high school, so I was like, "Well, I'll never
ah,
run track again," and then Jake's like, "No, we have para track and field. You wanna try para track and field?"
yeah,
And I was like, "Yeah, sign me up. I'll do it."
yeah,
And I'm so glad that was, like, the best decision that I've ever made, and changed a lot for me, like, I just graduated my associate's program this past month,
heck yeah,
and I'm training up for a couple more races, track meets
hmm,
next month, which is just exciting, and I don't know, I'm 23, so I didn't think that I'd continue my sports into my young adulthood when I
yeah,
was younger,
hmm,
and now, like, I have the ability to do just that, and I'm so young in my adaptive athletics career because, like, I'm using my shoulders, I'm using my arms. It's a whole different ball game, and
yeah.
I'm just now getting started, and this is just the beginning.
Yeah, yeah, that's awesome. In the other cool thing, so from the UC Adaptive Athletics standpoint, from what I've gathered from Jake, is he wanted to start off with like individual sports like
Mhm.
track and field and tennis so that he can like get a name for UC Adaptive Athletics, and then obviously he's wheelchair basketball is near and dear to his heart as the basketball coach and of the Dragons, and then he was a Paralympian as
Mhm.
well in wheelchair basketball, and so I imagine eventually once he gets a name out and stuff like that, and they have maybe more funding, or I don't know whatever the barriers are, he's gonna want to start a wheelchair basketball program
Absolutely.
too. So, do you know like I know like from a collegiate adaptive athletic standpoint, there's tennis, there's track, there's basketball. Uh, are those like would you say the three main ones, or are there any other ones that I'm missing?
I feel like so, like, locally, I don't know as much about the
Sure.
adaptive athletic world as I should and as much as I would,
No worries.
because
I
I
don't
could
either.
go on a deep dive and just be stuck there for days.
Yeah.
But I know that there are more sports,
Yeah.
we had some athletes come out and they were asking about, like, fencing.
Oh,
So I feel like it's gotta be offered somewhere.
yeah.
It's just not offered here.
Yeah.
But, I'd say that those are probably some of the main sports.
Yeah. Okay. Interesting. Yeah, I was just talking with Alec and Joanna. They're located out of Virginia, and they do adaptive boxing. And that's not something I've ever tried either. And
That is definitely on my bucket list, and I've talked about it so many times. I'm like, "I wanna try boxing." Like,
yeah.
I think that I would really like it.
Yeah.
So, that is awesome.
Yeah. Yeah, and like the MMA type stuff that I do, a lot of it's, there's boxing that's involved
Mhm.
in that a large part since, there's a little bit of grappling that I'll do, like, that's like ground wrestling and stuff like that, so, anyway, let's move on to a little bit of hand cycling. So, real quick, hand cycling is not at UC,
No.
correct? Okay. So you recently ran or participated in I wanna say run, but that's not appropriate for this. You participated in the Flying Pig using a hand bike, and this is the 2nd year in a row, correct? Or
So,
3rd?
this was my 3rd year racing in the Flying Pig
Nice.
and my 2nd year in a row that I won in my division.
Nice, congratulations.
Thank you so much. So, I had done my first Flying Pig in 2024,
Uh-huh.
and that was the 10K, and it was my first time using a hand cycle,
Yeah.
and I wanna say I finished in, like, an hour and, like, 15-ish minute my bike broke down a bunch of times. It was really stressful. I had gotten really anxious, and I was like, "Okay, well, I just finished, so that's okay."
Yeah.
And then in 2025, I came back and I won in my division. I finished in, like, 42 minutes.
Yeah.
And then this past year, I did the 10K and the half marathon, and so I finished the 10K in 39 minutes, and then I finished the half marathon in an hour and 35, and that
Wow.
was my first time ever doing a half marathon, the furthest distance I've ever raced in, and
Nice.
so I won 1st place in my division for both of those races, and it was just really cool. And I don't know, the bridge orchestrated everything. So,
Yeah.
thanks to the bridge and the Flying Pig for making it possible because this was the first year that they had, like, hand cyclists and wheelchair racers in the half and full marathon.
Yeah.
And I was like, "I don't know about a full marathon, but I can do a half marathon. I can do that."
Yeah, yeah. I talked to Danny about training for the flying pig, and like because of my head issues that I had, I had to pull out and
Mhm.
like before it even started. So I think that'd be fun to just do as far as like I don't know, half marathon or full. I used to wheelchair race back in like when I was like a kid, like at 10. So I don't know. It'd just be fun to do. Maybe if my issues are solved by next year, I can do that. But just for those Americans who don't know, how many miles is a 10K, and then how many miles is a half marathon? Do you know?
So, a 10K, I wanna say is, like, 6.2.
Okay.
Half marathon is 13.1,
Yep.
and then
Okay.
the full marathon is 26.2,
Yeah.
and I don't know. So next year, I have a really crazy goal. I wanna, like, do all the races,
Heck yeah.
but I wanna do the full marathon, the 10K, the 5K, and then the, like, 50 West Mile, and it's called, like, the Cincy Skyline four-way challenge or something. It's the
Okay.
four-way challenge with extra cheese.
Is it within the flying pig?
Yeah, it's
Okay.
the flying pig, and you just do all 4 of those races, and I'm
Uh,
like, "Okay, I can do that," but I also feel like I kinda have to defend my title with the half marathon,
yeah.
so then I don't know what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna have to, like, virtually do it or something, but I have a crazy goal for next year.
Does the half marathon and full marathon take place at the same time?
Yes.
Yeah, okay.
So you, like, have to I'm like, "I gotta pick one or the other."
Well, that's kinda interesting that you have to pick one or the other, because like, you would think that they could mark where the half is for the full marathon and
Mhm.
just mark your time for that, and then you keep going.
Keep on going. Yeah, I
Yeah.
feel like that would be pretty cool if I could just, like, do it all.
Yeah, but I guess, I mean, it is road racing, so, like, if someone was doing, like, the half marathon route, I assume it's probably a little bit different than, like, the full marathon route?
Yeah. So the half, and the full were, like, almost the same, and then there was, like, a turning point.
Got it.
I saw on the news someone missed their turn actually, and she ended up doing the full marathon, and, like, props to her for doing that because
My gosh.
I don't know what I would have done,
Yeah.
so but yeah.
So how after the half marathon, how tired were you? Could you have kept going, you think?
Afterwards, I was like, "I think I could have done the full," but,
Yeah.
like, it was an hour and 39 minutes, so, like, I'm thinking in my head, I'm like, "That's, like, 3.5 hours just sitting there, just pushing nonstop," because when I
Yeah.
race, I don't stop, I'm just going, going, going. I was, like, snatching Twizzlers and drinks from the side, but, like, still going,
Yeah.
but I don't know, I'm like 3 something out. That might be a lot.
Yeah, that I mean, it certainly is. And do you, like, have, like, a music going or a podcast in your ears, or you
No, I
don't?
haven't learned a trick for, like, keeping my AirPods in my ears. I need, like, one of the headbands. I
Oh,
think that one of the, like, music headbands would be perfect for me because I
yeah.
always drop them, and I'm like, "Well, if I lose it on the course, like, I'm never getting it back," so just listening to everyone cheer, that's what gets me through.
Oh, interesting.
And just keep swimming.
Yeah, yeah, just keep swimming. You just say that in your head for an
Yep,
hour and a half.
and it just goes.
Oh, man, I think I would lose my mind if I didn't have, like, something in my ear that I was listening to,
Yeah, I've definitely thought, like, afterwards, I'm like, "I feel like I would be faster if I was listening to something," and
yeah.
I'm like, "We'll figure it out at a later time."
Right, right. Well, so you won your division, and you said you won the 10K and the half marathon this year. That is awesome. And how many participants were there for, like, all the divisions, let's say?
So,
Do you
there were
know?
a handful of racers. I was the only female to do the half marathon,
Cool.
the first female in history to do it on
That's
handcycle,
cool.
which was crazy, and I think that was definitely a big motivator for me because when I was doing my training, I was like, "I don't know if I'll be able to do this, like, this
Yeah,
is a lot." I'm training up crazy hills, but I had an awesome, like, training team with me from the bridge, and
yeah,
I'm so grateful for them because they definitely, like, made me realize that I could do it. But I did that, and I was the only female with the half, and then there were quite a few females in the 10K division,
yeah.
and we had quite a few males, and then I wanna say between the half and the full, there were 5 people that did everything.
Wow.
Like, split between I think there were 5 athletes participating in those 2 races, and I wanna say more like 20 something or around 20 doing the, like, 5 and 10K. There were a lot of athletes participating this year.
Yeah, that's so cool that, like, I mean, we evolved from, like, no wheelchair athletes or
Mhm.
adaptive athletes being in it to now where this is the first year that we've done the full marathon and half
Mhm.
marathon, right, with the Flying Pig?
Yeah,
Yeah, that's so cool. Well, congrats on that win.
thank you.
What talk to me about, like, the training that you have to go through to get to that level.
So, with the bridge my track season is, like overlapped a bit with the pig training.
Yeah.
So we were doing track practices like 3 times, maybe 4 times a week
Mhm.
for a couple hours a day, and then I was doubling up and doing pig training twice a week for, like, 2 hours each time, so 4 hours there,
Wow.
and we were doing, like, 16 miles because the half is 13.1 and we're like, "Well, we gotta train the hill, we
Yeah.
gotta get, like, the stamina, we gotta know that we can do it."
Yeah.
So I was doing, like, 16 miles twice a week, and then
Yeah.
however many miles I was doing at track,
That's
on my different, like, bike style, so
yeah.
it was a lot, and then
Yeah.
the gym on top it was a lot, so
Yeah.
but it was worth it, it all paid off, so I can't complain.
Yeah. Well, in like with a track chair
Mhm,
versus a hand bike,
mhm,
you're using completely different muscles.
exactly.
And so do you think using the track chair helped you build strength for the hand bike?
I do. I feel like, because you're right, it's completely different muscles that you're working.
Mhm.
I felt like it helped me with, like, my endurance,
Yeah,
and
for sure.
then also with certain, like, range of motion, like, although it's a different kind of push, I'm still, like, getting extension in my arm when I'm training for
Mhm.
track, so it's helping me with hand cycling as well.
Yeah, and I suppose there is overlap with the different muscles. It's
Mhm.
just, you have the hand bike, which is out in front of you, and then the track chair, which is like you're pushing on the wheels
Yeah.
itself. Do you wear those gloves for the track chair?
Yeah, we have cool gloves for the track chairs, and at first I was like, I don't know about pushing with the glove, like, I push my day chair with my hands all the time.
Yeah.
I can push this track chair at, 15, 16, 17 miles an hour, and I learned very quick, "Oh, the gloves there's a reason that everyone's using these gloves,
Yeah.
like, there's a reason everyone has them, but we use them. I've tried, like, a bunch of different sizes, and I love them."
Yeah. Wait, explain for those who don't know what the difference is. Why do you
So
need the gloves?
it, like so you're pushing and, like, it's one thing to, like, push your day chair, you're going, like, as fast as your hands push you.
Yeah.
Well, when you get in the track chair, like, you're getting a lot more speed,
Mhm.
and the material like, I've gotten so many bad tire burns on my hands, on my arms. So we
Yeah.
have these, like, 3D printed gloves, and they kinda look like a mitt that, like, goes around, like, this part of your hand, and
Mhm.
it makes it flat, and your gloves just, like, grip onto the sides of the wheel and just push.
Mhm.
So it makes it so much easier.
Yeah. And the hand rim, can you talk about the difference between, like, an everyday chair and a track chair hand rim?
Yeah, so my track chair rim is, like, wrapped with I don't even know how to describe the material, but, like, my day chair is very smooth,
Yeah.
like, I don't have rubber I know some people put, like, rubber on theirs,
Yeah.
mine's just the metal that yeah. So, mine is easy for me to, like, hold with my hand and push, but, like, if I try to grip it, it's gonna s my hand's gonna slide right off of it.
Mhm.
So, the material on that rim just literally just grips onto the rubber, which helps you go faster and makes you speedy.
Yeah. And when I was a kid, the hand rims were much smaller too. Is
Mhm.
that still accurate for a track chair?
Um, they're pretty small. I definitely say they're smaller than, like, my day chair,
Yeah.
and then just depending on the style.
Mhm. And that, the reason from what I've gathered is the smaller hand rim allows you to, like, essentially, once you get to the top speed, you can get to an even faster top speed
Mhm.
as a result of those smaller hand rims. If you
Mhm.
think about gears on a bike for those listening and like the different gears have like smaller and like larger, you just have basically one gear on a track chair essentially. So,
Yeah.
you have obviously, I would assume on a hand bike you have gears, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. It,
It
go ahead.
was cool. So my bike that I used this year for the flying pig, it had a bunch of different gears and it had like the 3 rings.
Yeah.
So I was shifting gears and I went to the top of the one ring and I was like, "Oh, I can go to another ring," and shifting gears there, and it was just so many different gears. I absolutely loved it. I was just switching them.
How many gears was it, do you know? Was it
Um, I
18?
I wanna say
Okay,
about 18.
sure.
Yeah, 'cause it just kept I just kept on switching it.
Yeah. Yeah,
I
yeah,
had, like, the big one closer to me and then the small one in the front,
yeah.
and then there was another one, but it was so nice. I
Y
liked being able to switch the gears because the first year my bike kept breaking down,
yeah,
so I was like, "Okay, I've got some speed now."
yeah. And was this a bridge borrowed chair, or is this your own?
Bridge borrowed chair.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's so cool that the bridge has, like, the access to that, and,
Yes.
it's yeah, it's so cool that they can just lend out chairs,
Mhm.
and, I mean, they've helped us with, like, tennis chairs and stuff like that with
Yeah.
Cincinnati Tennis Foundation, so, um, okay, what about your goal with adaptive sports? What's future you wanna accomplish?
My dream is to be in the Paralympics.
Cool.
I, like, have no doubt in my mind that I'm gonna get there. I don't know how I'm gonna do it, a lot of training, I guess,
Yeah.
but, like, that's a very big goal of mine. I see myself there. I see myself just making it happen,
Mhm.
and I I think that I see myself doing it with track and probably with my, like, favorite race, my 100. I love road racing, but I don't think I'm at, like, that peak speed yet to
Yeah,
where I'm like, I can compete with these Paralympians,
yeah.
but I can get there with training.
Yeah, okay, that's awesome. So 100 meters where you think and can you talk to me just briefly about, like, the different classifications?
Yes, so you are in a different class based on, like, your disabilities, so, like, spina bifida and me being, like, a para
Mhm.
or a SCI, they're different classes,
Yep,
and then there's, like, what is it, cognitive disabilities as well.
yeah,
So they're all different classes, and then you have different levels in each one of those classes as well.
yep.
So I haven't been classified yet, but that's something that I'll be doing in a couple weeks.
Awesome.
I have an idea of like where I'll be, which is like a T53, I
Yeah,
think.
okay.
So we'll see how that plays out. But yeah, it's just different ability levels, injury levels, and what your functioning ability is.
Yeah, yeah. Is there hand cycling in the Paralympics? There's not,
I
right?
believe that with, like, road racing, I think that that is a winter game sport, and
Oh,
I'm not 100% sure, but I'm, like, almost positive, so don't quote me,
yeah.
but I'm pretty sure that hand cycling is in the Paralympics, but it's not with, like, the summer sports with track and field. I think it's a winter sport.
Yeah, yeah. One of the things that baffles me with, like, track and field type events is so in tennis, there's, like, 3 different divisions essentially, and then you have, like, experience level. Well, there's really 2 different divisions. There's quad, which is 3 or more limbs impaired, and then there's para, and then you have, like, experience levels within those.
Mhm.
So, like, a quad could play in the para, but a para can't play in the quad division, which is kinda cool, but, like, you know, if in the para division that was divided out into more, you'd have like 2 people in each category,
Mhm.
right? So, like, with track, it's interesting because track you have, like, I don't know how many divisions there are, but I've heard there's a lot of
There's a
different
lot.
divisions. What do you think of that as far as, like, it narrowing the pool versus it being, like, fair that you're competing with a similar disability?
I like that you're competing with people with similar, like, disabilities as you and
Y
similar strengths.
yeah,
So I really like that aspect, but I think that it really widens just the whole playing field.
yeah,
And I think that that's a good thing and a bad thing at the same time, because one, it allows everyone to participate, which I think is very important.
sure.
But at the same time, it allows everyone to participate, and it's at not the same because you're all obviously in different, like, divisions and different classes and so on, but I don't know, I feel like being able to, like, openly just compete against everyone is still somewhat important,
Yeah,
if
yeah,
that makes sense.
yeah. Which doesn't happen currently.
Mhm.
You know, it'd be kinda cool. I have no idea how they'd be able to do this, but it'd be kinda cool if they gave, like, time handicaps, if you will.
Yeah.
So, like, the higher the people that are less injured, let's say they have to they have to make the time, but
Mhm.
for you who has a higher injury, you would just take off a few seconds from whatever times. Again, I to do that math to figure out what that handicap should be seems impossible, but then you could kind of pull all those together and get like the world record for,
Mhm.
out of all the
Yeah,
para
I
athletes.
like that. It's kinda funny you say that too because when we're training at, UC practice,
Yeah.
Jake started these, like, handicap races for us, and
Oh,
so we would start, we'd all have, like, different spots of starting, and I'd start a little farther back, and it was more so, like, about, like, our speeds and what we're doing,
yeah.
and we did that and made it work, and it made it, like, a little bit more fair in a sense, like, we're all still it's still the same finish line, we just got different starts.
Right.
And
Yes.
it makes the playing field a little bit more even, and I really like those are some of our funnest races.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, that's, and it makes it more competitive.
Mhm.
Like, it's no fun if, like, you're the fastest person and you're beating everybody's time by a
Yeah,
few seconds.
yeah.
It's like, okay.
It puts us a little more, like, neck and neck, and now we're like, "Okay, we're rolling the dice, who's got this race?"
Yeah,
And I really like that aspect.
yeah. Um, Talk to me about, so Dan mentioned something, I'm probably gonna botch it. Is he was on a bike while you were doing the flying pig?
Yeah, he was my bike escort, so as I think they gave, like, the fastest male runner and female runner escorts too because, like, we're out following this, like, path, but
Yeah.
I'm a little geographically challenged and I don't know where I'm going, so
Okay.
I definitely need an escort, but we all had escorts kinda leading the way for us,
Yeah.
and Dan was my bike escort for both races, the 10K and the half marathon.
Okay.
So, he, like, rode kinda behind me for the one race, and then the second race, we had an extra and I can't remember his name, but he was an awesome escort, and I feel really bad because I can't think of his name right now. But they just kinda rode with me, yelled out, like, "Pothole up here, there's people," kinda cleared the way to make sure I kinda just stayed on the path, didn't
Uh,
run anybody over,
yeah.
and then if anything happened, like, I had someone there to help me out.
Yeah, yeah. Okay, interesting. So the primary purpose of the escort was, one, to make sure that you're following the path
Mhm,
correctly, and then two, to make sure that you're like, there's, if there's people on the road, that
mhm,
they kind of clear the path first,
mhm.
and obviously they look out for potholes and stuff like that. Is that
Yeah,
the
and
gist of it?
yeah, and then safety too, like, in case anything were to happen,
Mm.
'cause I well, I did have my phone because I kept my little Strava up,
Yeah,
but, like, if I had something happen and I couldn't, like, call for help, like, I had someone else there just in case.
yeah,
Because there are people all throughout the course, but, like, there's also times where you might not see anybody there, and
right.
what are you gonna do? Like, I took a wrong turn or I went too far, not on this past race, but a race I've done in the past, and I was like, "Well, I don't and now I've gotta turn around and go back," so having the escorts really help
Uh,
with that.
yeah, interesting. And also, like, especially Dan, like, he's used to adaptive athletes. So,
Mhm.
like, let's say you fell, you hit a pothole and fell.
Yeah.
Somebody that's watching you wouldn't necessarily know what to do to
Mhm.
get you up as fast as possible and back into the race if you're not injured,
Yeah.
right? And so there's that dynamic as well. So, go ahead. What
I
were you gonna
definitely had, like having Dan as my escort was probably I had the best escort.
say?
Like,
Yeah,
everyone was an awesome escort, but, like, having Dan because he was already kind of familiar because he is, like, what is it, the athletic director,
yeah,
at UC, like, he's one of the sports people, so I've, like, seen him about issues I've had in the past.
yeah.
So, he's just familiar, so
Yeah.
it made it a lot easier too.
Yeah, yeah. That's so cool. And then, yeah, so anything else about the flying pig that you wanna mention, or
I just I was really happy to have done the half. I'm just so grateful that they opened up the rest of the races because I think that it's needed
yeah,
because we still do big events, like, we still participate, and I think that it was nice that they included everyone
yeah,
and worked with the bridge to make that possible.
yeah. Now did the able-bodied runners and the hand bikers, they went at the same time, right?
So, we had a head start,
Okay,
I wanna say it was, like, 10, maybe 15 minutes,
okay.
but, like, I got passed on the half marathon. I definitely got
By a
passed
runner?
by a couple runners.
Oh,
Yeah, a few runners definitely passed me on the half marathon. Um,
okay.
they were running,
Wow. That
running.
sounds I mean, so, like, for those listening, like, a hand bike, you can pretty much keep up with normal bikers. You probably
Mhm.
couldn't keep up with, like, like, someone who bikes
Right,
regularly,
yeah.
but, like, it's I mean, because of the gears and stuff like that, it's a pretty it's a lot faster than the average runner,
Mhm.
so the fact that anybody could catch you,
Yeah,
that's like, "Whoa."
very impressive.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I will say too, because the hand cycles are faster than, like, the track chairs
Yeah,
because you have all the gears.
they are.
Jake counts, he did the 5K, the 10K, and the half marathon all in a track chair,
Whoa.
and I'm pretty sure he definitely beat me for every single race.
Did he?
Yeah,
Whoa,
phenomenal.
okay.
Yeah.
Come on, Mikiahya, get with it.
I was
Like,
like,
no.
"Yeah, I maybe I should have tried the track chair for this one, I don't know."
Would you like, in upcoming years, would you ever consider using a track chair instead?
So, I was debating this year on if I wanted to do the track chair or the hand cycle,
Yeah.
and I was like, "Well, which one do I wanna do?" And I knew for the, like, half and full, that's too much distance
Eh,
for me to do it in a track chair. I need to stick with my hand cycle for that.
yeah.
But, like, the 10K and the 5K are very reasonable to do in a track chair, and I've done
Yeah.
a 10K in a track chair. So I'm like, "Maybe," but what really it scared me the hills. The
Yeah.
hills scared me, and I was like, "I don't know. I
Mhm.
might tip." And I don't what if I tip on the course and people don't run and get me up?
Yeah.
So
Yeah, that's fair. Yeah, and I haven't looked at the course for the flying pig, but, like, I mean, Cincinnati just has so many different hills that,
Mhm.
like, yeah, it's I'm sure it's probably pretty brutal. And again, for anybody listening, uh, there there's there's different gears for, a hand bike, but there's not for a regular, like, track chair, and
Nope.
it is harder to do it in a track chair than it is a hand bike. Would you
Yeah.
agree with that?
I would
Yeah,
definitely agree with that.
yeah. So I have a hot take that I wanted to ask you about. Um, I think able-bodied people should be able to play adaptive sports. What do you think about that?
Play and compete or
Yes.
just okay. With, like, classification limits or just all is fair game?
Well, yeah, I think there would have to be classifications. So, like,
Mhm.
in basketball, you guys can look this up, but in
Okay.
basketball, there's a point system. I think the 4-5 is as high as you go
Mhm.
in basketball. So there maybe you'd throw in a 5 for an able-bodied person.
Mm.
Or in tennis, because there's a para quad division, there's maybe an everyone division or something like that.
Mhm.
Now, where I I I think for them to compete, it gets a little tricky because I I I think in order for able-bodied people to, like, even want to get into adaptive sports, you'd have to have, and allow that person to be able to compete.
Mhm.
Where I think it gets tricky is at the Paralympic level. I don't know that at the Paralympic level, that seems to be I mean, it is the highest level of competition, so it's like excluding them from that seems a little, like, questionable to me, but at the same time, they have their own lane that they can go to with the
Yeah.
Olympics, so I don't know that that would be I think that's where I would draw the line,
Mhm.
is Paralympic level, maybe you can't compete as an able-bodied person.
Okay.
But I will say this too, is I think w w like, it adaptive sports are growing in awareness, but I think in order to truly make it, like, really popularized is getting able-bodied people into those sports. And so then, more money would come in and
Mhm.
we'd be able to pay adaptive athletes a little bit better and stuff like that. So I think that's where my primary motivation is. Ian Smith, who was on the podcast, brought up a really good point about, well, if an able-bodied person takes the place of a disabled person, for example, it's 5-on-5 in basketball. If y- you or I were sitting on the bench because an able-bodied person is playing on the court, they have basketball programs where they can go and play. We don't.
Mhm.
And so it kinda it's like, well, if a disabled athlete is sitting on the bench because of an able-bodied athlete, that's where I'm like, "Oh," like, I don't know that I like that a whole
Yeah.
lot. So
I definitely I feel like I can see that, like, I feel like I can agree with that once you, like, kinda explain and because I do feel like the Paralympics, we definitely would have to draw the line, and then also, like, if when they take the place of an athlete with a disability, then, yeah, we might be doing a little bit too much, but I do think that allowing able-bodied people to participate in different adaptive sports, 1, gives insight, 2, it educates people like, us and them,
mm,
and 3, grows the programs, like, there are a lot of benefits that I think would come along and can come along with it,
yeah.
but I do think we have to have that line of, okay, like, yes, you can compete, yes, you can play, but there is a cutoff point where, like, you've maxed out here.
Yeah, 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 yeah. And the other thing is like, playing adaptive sports at the collegiate level.
Mhm.
Like, I I don't know, I'm kinda torn there too.
I feel like with, like, recreational sports, it would be, like, a lot easier, and then when you have those more competitive sports
Yeah.
where you have, like, national competitions and big meets and, like, things like that, then maybe not so much, but, like, recreational, absolutely. For training and, like, practice purposes, absolutely.
Mhm.
And then, like, those local competitions, local meets, local event absolutely. And then when you, like, get into that bigger playing field, the collegiate competitions,
Yeah.
the national meets, and so on, that's kinda where we'd have to, like, draw the line and be like, "Okay, now we're trying" like, you've helped us, like, build this, explore this, grow this, like, you've competed and went to, like, your benefit as a player, as an athlete, and, like, the athlete with a disability, you've contributed to both ends, and now, like, you're just helping us train them for that bigger next step for them
Yeah.
because they do have their own sports.
Yeah, so I don't know that I would fully go where you are because I I want them to have, like, a high level competition.
Mhm.
Because otherwise, what's the point? Why
Mhm.
would they get involved in that sport,
Yeah.
right? Again, I haven't really hashed that out yet as far as, like, national level. I mean, yes, Paralympic level, I don't think that they should participate, but all the other ones, I'm still, like, on the fence
Mhm.
with how that works, and maybe able-bodied people compete with other able-bodied people in, like, say, track, for example.
Mhm.
And then, you're not excluding an able-bodied person or
Yeah.
a disabled person, or the disabled person isn't having to compete with that able-bodied person and getting 2nd place to that able-bodied person.
Mhm.
So I don't know. I think like in team sports like basketball, it does get a little bit trickier. So the other thing, and you kind of touched on this briefly, is I hated watching tennis before I started playing
Mhm.
tennis, and now that I'm watching, and then now that I've played, I know how hard those shots are that they make, right?
Yeah.
And so that's another reason why I think able-bodied people should play adaptive sports is because once you get in a wheelchair and you see how hard tennis, track, whatever else is, you don't quite appreciate the skill level that it takes to move your chair like they do,
Mhm.
So, I don't know, I just think, overall, yes, there are some downsides to it, but I think it's a net positive if we do allow able-bodied people to play wheelchair sports.
Yeah.
So, anyway, um, okay, any Anything else on adaptive sports that you wanna cover
Um,
before we move on?
I just love adaptive sports, all of
Heck
them.
yeah.
Sign me up. If there's one that you know about, let me know.
Yeah, yeah.
I like to try all the new things.
I like it. Awesome. Well, it is time for the Wheelie Bad Jokes segment.
Okay.
So here's how Wheelie Bad Jokes works. I am going to tell you a really bad joke. I want you to rate it on a scale of 1 to 10. And then if you have a joke that you want to tell back, feel free. If not, that's fine too. Most guests don't have a really bad joke. Actually, do you have one in mind?
I don't have a joke per se, but I do have a funny story.
Okay, great.
That could count.
Let's save that for after I do mine. I actually have a kind of a funny story too that I wanna tell within this segment. So, okay, so here's the wheelie bad joke. You ready?
Yes.
Okay. I just found out my friend is really a ghost. I had my suspicions the moment she walked through the door. Get it? Da-da. Do you get it?
I'm bad with jokes.
Oh, okay, so so the joke is, you know,
She
you can
walked
walk
through
through
the
the door.
door.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, you can
Yeah.
walk through a door, but, like, it's literally like the door's closed.
Yeah.
She walked through the doors, like, the double meaning to that, if you
Yeah.
will.
Okay.
So,
Yeah.
yeah, you know, it's not a good joke when you have to explain it. My bad. So, okay, so how would you rate that joke?
It took me a second to process it. 10 being like the best joke I'd ever heard in
The
my
best
life.
bad joke that you've heard in your life, yeah.
Oh, I'd probably rate it like a 8.
An 8 for a bad joke. Okay. What about the humor behind it? What would you rate it there?
I thought it was funny afterwards because I just needed a second to process. I was like,
Yeah.
"Wait, okay."
Yeah.
But I think my delayed humor is what got me because I liked that part. I thought
Yeah.
it was funny.
Yeah, yeah. Awesome. Well, you said that you have a story.
Oh my goodness, yes. So, I was in a store, and this was after I'd been injured. So, I was talking to one of my friends, and I think that I'm a hilarious person. I have a lot of personality, and I'm humorous. I'm hilarious.
Yeah.
So we were talking and I don't even remember what I said. And we were in the line to like check out and I was like, "Yeah. See, I always knew I should be a stand-up comedian." And I stopped myself and I spun around and I was like, "Well, sit down, comedian." And the guy behind me turned around and he looked and he was like and he started laughing and he was like, "That was funny. Like, I think you should." But it was so funny because I had never really thought about it and it was still early into my injury. So I was like, yeah, a stand-up comedian, a sit-down comedian, and it was, the guy's reaction to it, and I don't know why, but I lost it in the store, and I was like, "Yep, that's exactly what I'll do, sit-down comedy."
That's great. Have you ever thought about
No,
doing
but I
comedy?
think that I entertain myself, I think that I am very funny, and I can just sit by myself, and I'll randomly start laughing, and my mom's like, "What's going on?" And I'm like, "I just thought of something really, really funny. I'm just the funniest person that I know. I'm very entertaining." And I think that I probably would succeed a little bit at sit down comedy.
Yeah, yeah, that's hysterical. Okay, so I want to tell a recent thing that happened to me. So, with my head issues,
Mhm.
I have been waiting for an MRI for like couple months, and I finally got the MRI. And you have to obviously you're in this like tube, your head is locked into place
Mhm.
essentially, and um, I I I had the most random thought, and it's the worst place to to be like to start a zombie apocalypse would be inside of an MRI.
Oh,
You
yeah.
know?
Oh,
Like
yeah.
like, you've got earplugs in because it's noisy,
Yeah.
right? And so, like, if there's anybody screaming outside
Oh,
the
no.
MRI, you can't hear them. And
No.
so and you're also, like, locked into place. I didn't try, but I think if needed to, I could slip out below because they basically put a cage over your
Mhm.
head and, like, kinda lock you in.
Yeah.
and I don't know that I could get out of that. So, like, if the zombie apocalypse happens, I'm done.
I'm just stuck here. Yeah.
Yeah. So, anyway, worst place for a zombie apocalypse is inside of an MRI machine.
Yeah.
Okay, um, any other, like, fun stories that you have, or
I'm trying to think. Um,
no worries.
I don't know.
We can move on. I think I might later ask you a different kind of question that'll lead to some potentially funny stories. So, let's talk about domestic violence, your relationship, and kind of how that all started. So, like before the injury and all that. So you were dating your partner. You said for 6 months.
Mhm.
And, can you just start where you think is appropriate?
Yeah, so, we had kinda known each other from, like, childhood and stuff,
Okay.
and then we kinda, like, reconnected once we were older, and we had started talking online.
I'm gonna move this just like that. Okay.
We
Okay.
had started talking online, and I don't know, we just started our relationship, and I was very much, I don't wanna say oblivious to the signs, but I definitely turned my head a little bit.
Okay.
But, like, there were signs of, like, trying to isolate me and, like, belittling my opinions on things and really, like, say an argument would happen and then trying to quickly make up with, like, gifts and apologies and stuff, and I think that that is something that I overlooked a lot of because, like, people shouldn't have to keep telling you sorry and keep wanting to, like, "Here's a gift, I'm so sorry," and make up for things, and I think that that definitely was, like, a big tell sign, and
Yeah.
then the isolating me from kind of, like, everyone in a sense also played a big factor. So I was shot, and I think the day that I was shot, I never ever expected this to be, like, part of my story
R
or how everything.
Real quick before you get into the day. So you said that you've known this person for since you're a child, but
Mhm.
you reconnected like through a dating website. Is that?
Through it was online, not a dating website, but, like, social media.
Ah, okay.
So, social media had, like, reconnected us in a sense, and we were like, "Oh, okay, well, we'll just kinda test the water, see what's going on."
Yeah.
So, I
It
what go
no,
ahead.
no, no, and so, like, the isolation, like, w was this was this person, like, telling you that they didn't like your friends and family, and
Yeah,
they're like, "I don't wanna hang out with them," and
yeah.
okay,
So, wanted me to, like, kinda stay home or only hang out with them, didn't like my friends, didn't want me, like, hanging out with my friends.
yeah,
And then, there was, like, abusive drinking, which not
ah,
on my end, but my partner at the time's end, which I caught on to that very quickly, and I was like, "I don't like that." But then I kind of, like, played it off as, like, "Okay, people drink, like, we're young."
mhm,
That is also, like, abuse. I shouldn't be having to take care of you, like, all the time and then
right,
dealing with lash outs and so on. So, I had knew that there was a gun in the house because we had lived together at the time.
mhm.
And I knew it was there. It had been pulled on me a few times at this point, which
Oh,
I definitely feel like now looking back, like I'm always like, "Oh, I should have known. I should have like left. I should have turned away." And
wait, so did your partner get abusive with you as well?
not physically,
Not physically, okay,
never physically, but verbally and mentally. It
right,
was like just a lot. And I think that's the biggest thing too. And that's why I had overlooked a lot because I'm like, well, physically, like I'm not being physically abused, but that emotional and psychological, all that stuff plays a really big part into
yeah.
it, and I think that that is why a lot of things get overlooked at times.
Yeah, and so I don't know much about domestic abuse. I'm nowhere near an expert, but from what I've gathered, like there's a level of in your partner you see their potential,
Mhm.
right? And that's why like you kind of put up with
Yeah.
the verbal abuse, let's say.
Mhm.
Is that accurate?
I'd say for my situation, definitely, because, like, I'd say that there were more good times than bad, but the
Yeah.
bad were so, so bad
Right.
that they should have, like, outweighed the
Right.
good.
Right. You
But,
should.
like, that the good times happened more often, but the bad times were just extremely bad.
Right.
And so I'm like, "Well, it's not all the time." So, like, most of the time, like, you're fine and things go well.
Yeah.
So I'm like, "Oh, it's okay." Like, I know what your good is like. I know what you're like when you're in a good space mentally, like when you're calm, or at least what I think is like calm when you're putting on a show.
Right.
And then those bad times come, and then I'm like, well, it was just a few times, or it was just like 1 out of 7 days, or this or that. And
Yeah.
I think that it's still kind of, you have to just pay attention to that. And now, like, I know the signs.
Mhm.
Now I know what I don't want in my life. So
Yeah.
that plays a part. But yeah, so the gun had been pulled a few times and nothing had resulted from it. It was just like a threat of verbal, physical, mental threat, but not
Yeah.
physical abuse.
Right. Were the moments, when the verbal abuse happened,
Mhm.
was it mostly when your partner was drunk, or was it both?
Yes. Mostly when they were intoxicated or under some sort of whatever.
Okay.
And, like, most of the time when they were sober, it was good, and I think that's a big reason why I was like, "Oh, it's like,
Mm.
it's not you, it's the drinking," or
Yeah.
"It's not you, it's this," like, so that's why I kinda held on to that hope, like, "No, like, you're things are okay,"
Yeah.
but things are not okay when, like, that's a reoccurring issue.
Yeah. And then the other question, and again, thank you for talking about this. I did make sure that we were good to talk about
Yeah.
this before the podcast, and because I know it's it could be like a potentially sensitive subject
Mhm.
for some people, and it's really cool that you're willing to talk about this, and like ho- hopefully someone listening to this, like, hopefully they're not going through this,
Mhm.
but hopefully if they are, they can hear what you're saying and see those like the warning signs, and maybe get out of it as well. So I really hope that this makes an impact on someone listening, and because you're so open to sharing your story. Um, the other question that I have is, when a gun was pulled on you, in what capacity was it pulled?
Usually, like, during, like, once was, like, a verbal argument. One time I was, like, trying to pack up and leave, and I was like, "You know what? I can't do that, like, I gotta go," and then it got pulled, and I was like, "Okay, I'll stay," and
Oh,
that kinda, like, tricked me into staying one time too, and then the final time was during a verbal argument, and
yeah,
that's how I ended up in my chair.
yeah, okay, interesting. And so when the gun was pulled, was it like, obviously, it sounds like it was pointed at you.
Yeah.
Was it, like, real close quarters, like they touched your head, or
So, the first few times that it had happened, it didn't.
okay,
So it was more of like a waving around, or like a threat, or like, "I'm showing you to, like, flash this at you."
right,
So, when I had gotten shot, the day I gotten shot, I really didn't think anything of it, which is really sad
yeah,
and very unfortunate, because, like, that's a big thing, like, you think something of that. But
yeah,
I'm like, "This has happened before, like, it'll calm down." But that day when I got shot, it was, like, super close to my head, pointed at me, and then when I got shot, I was face down in the bed,
whoa,
and they were on top of me, holding me down.
oh,
So, and that was, like, the closest it got, and I think that, like, by spreading my like, what I've gone through, people understand, like, if someone is unfortunately in that situation, like, the one time they might have, like, for me, I was like, "Okay, like, you're just, like, doing this as a, not a joke, but, like, a mean prank, like, this is just you threatening me, that's not gonna happen." And then it happened again, and then it happened again, and then there was a serious consequence from it.
right,
So, like, I pushed it off a few times, and I feel like other people may have been in situations where they've, like, ignored something, but, like, if they've went through, like, everything to, like, just show you and threaten you in that sense, like, there's more that can come.
Yeah.
So, like, knowing when to walk away and when to step back and be like, "Okay, you know what? No, this isn't right. Like, I do need help." It's very important to know those tell signs.
Yeah, absolutely. And so you were face down on the bed when it happened,
Mhm.
and was obviously the was it was was it an intentional or
Yeah, it was an intentional shooting. I've always that's like one of the first questions that people ask you, like,
yeah,
especially when you go to the hospital, they're like, or when I mention like I survived a gun violence incident, and they're like, "Oh my goodness, was it intentional?" And I'm like, "Yeah."
yeah,
So it was. I was being held down, in the bed, face down at the time, and it went off, and I instantly, like, couldn't feel anything, and I'm,
uh-huh,
like, reaching around for, like, a phone so I can call 911.
yeah.
So I've got the phone, called 911, and they got there, and, like, we kind of made it through, but that was
And your partner, that's interesting, like,
mhm,
I would think in a situation like that, like, your partner would
be the one to, like, call.
well, yeah, like, be like, "Oh my gosh, what did I do?"
Yeah, snap back to reality
Yeah,
or something, yeah, and it just nothing.
interesting. So,
So
did they did they stay on top of you for a little bit or, like, what?
When it went off, they did get off of me and they were like, "Oh my gosh, oh my gosh, oh my gosh," and I'm like, "Yeah, oh my gosh, like, I need help, I need, like, you to put something on my back, I need you to call 911," and they wouldn't do any of it, so
No.
I'm on the phone with 911, and then I'm on the phone with my mom, like, "Mom, like, I just got shot, like, I need you to like, I called the police, but I don't know when they're gonna get here, like, yeah, I need you to come," and I'm making phone calls, and I'm like, "I don't know." I was in so much shock that I was able to do a lot, and fortunately for me, I wasn't feeling all the burning and aching that was going on in my body, so I was able to, like, make those calls and get that taken care of, but,
Right,
like, all the shock that was going on at the time, I'm still like, "Wait, how did I even manage to
right.
do that?"
Now, was your phone within arm's
Armed
reach?
reach.
It was,
Yep.
okay, interesting. And then, like, so where as you're on the phone and all this, where was your partner?
So, they were, like, right next to me, and they hung up the phone on the cops and on my mom when I had made those 2 calls.
No.
They ended both the calls, so I'm kinda laying there like, "I don't know, they might get here, they might not, I don't know, I hope that they got all the information they needed to." So, I couldn't, like, make any more calls, I'm just laying there, like, really in shock, just trying to, like, I don't know, get through the moment
Mhm.
and hope that everything's okay, and the first responders got there very, very quick, and they, like, detained that person, they detained my partner at that time,
Yeah,
and did all the m matters that they have to do,
yeah.
and then I was rushed to UC Health.
Wow. So your partner was hanging up. What was your partner trying to, like, cover up? Like, or, like,
I
didn't want you to tell people?
Honestly, I have no idea because, like, I've still like, there's still glimpses and pieces that, like, I'm still like, I was in shock and I'm like, I don't know what happened in this moment, but I've, like, watched the body cam footage, rewatched this, the
Yeah,
911 calls, this, that, and the third, and I'm like, I don't know what you were doing. I shouldn't have had to do all that, but was doing everything, so it's
right,
like, I don't know if they were just in a state of shock where they're like, "I don't know what I just did," and I'm just, like, standing here, like but for me, it was, like, really life or death, and I'm like, I know that if I don't do anything right now,
yeah, you'll bleed out.
they're not gonna do anything, so I have to do something.
Right. Wow, that's crazy.
Mhm.
I guess the gun was pointed at your neck, is
Mhm.
that
So, it was originally, like, waved she was waving it in my face originally. And it was pointed at me, and then I was face down in the bed, and it was, like, directly on my shoulder. So, like, I had a burn from it afterwards, and the way that it was angled, it went downwards because I was laying, and that's how it lodged into my spine.
okay, so into your back.
Yeah, so it's, like, right here,
Okay,
but on the opposite side,
yeah.
um, and then it just went, like, down.
Interesting.
Mhm.
Okay, so it basically ricocheted
Yeah.
essentially once it entered.
Yeah.
Interesting. And so here's another thing that you probably can't answer, but um, why that spot? Like, why didn't they like? I don't know. Like, why weren't they aiming at your head? Thankfully, they weren't,
Yeah.
right? But like, or I don't know, some other spot of your body. Like,
Mhm.
were they trying to just hurt you?
That's
Or
why I've definitely questioned it many times. I'm like, I just don't understand. Like, I really don't. I couldn't tell you.
yeah,
I wish I could. But at the same time, I think that I probably don't know because there is no real reason. Like,
yeah, sure,
there's just not a real answer. Like, I think that the answer would probably be, oh, I don't know. It just happened.
yeah.
So,
Yeah, and they were drunk at
mhm.
the time, and so maybe they don't have recollection of
Yeah,
everything, I'm
and
sure.
that's kinda what I had thought too, because, like, after everything happened and then, like, it went to trial, it wasn't my trial, but the state took upon the case, and there was just, like, no reason nothing.
Yeah,
So I'm like, I just think that there's a lot of missing puzzle pieces from their side of the story from that night,
uh,
and they don't remember a lot of what happened, and so, unfortunately, I will never get those answers, but they will never get those answers either,
right.
and I think that it's just a really unfortunate situation.
Yeah, yeah. Wow, and so if you're okay mentioning this, what
Mhm.
happened to that person?
So, the with the state taking the trial, it wasn't me anymore on the case, but they were sentenced to 4.5 years,
What?
which for me, like, I was like, "I don't even see how that makes sense," but the way that they broke it down was really strange, and I have never been able to understand it, but I guess that, like, it's not for me to understand, but it was, like, 18 months for what happened to me and then 3 years for the gun. So
Whoa.
4.5 years, but realistically, it was only 18 months for my situation, which it's just never made much sense to me. But I guess I'm not in that field. I
Yeah,
don't I don't know what they do, why they do what they do, but I've, like, come to terms with it, and I did really good, like, healing and recovery and processing everything, so, like, I'm finally at a point where, like, I can and will talk about it,
yeah,
and I'm like, "Okay, this happened, and this is what is to come, this is what is," and I'm okay with that.
yeah, and so this person's still in jail.
Mhm.
And that sounds like they might have, like, another year, year and a
Yeah,
half
year and a
or
half.
something.
Yeah, right around that.
Have you thought about what could possibly happen when they get out?
I have, I think for me, because I never got answers as to why they did what they did.
Yeah,
I never got that why. So, like, my life was almost taken, and do I have to continue to, like do I have to live in fear or, like, try to understand, like, what can possibly happen or what is to come? But I think that, like, I just have to take the, like, right protective, like, measures when the time comes, but
yeah,
it's definitely, like, not having any answers from that night just leaves me with no answers for the future, and I'm like, "Well,
yeah,
is it possible that I could be at risk?" Like, it's a big game of I don't know.
yeah. Have you thought about talking or having somebody that you know talk to this person to maybe get answers, or are you just leaving that out?
It never really crossed my mind. I did because I was curious if they would reach out. I
Yeah,
was like, If they reached out, like, I could hear you out. I'm willing to, like, listen and try to understand why, like, what happened. Like, I'm willing to sit and hear you out, but I won't be the person to reach out and start that. It won't be
yeah,
from me,
yeah,
and that hasn't happened, so I'm like, "Well, you don't feel anything for what you did, so I can't try to want to see you as" what's the word? I can't see you as remorseful or as
Yeah,
like you've grown or changed in any certain way because you didn't try to like apologize or mend or anything because you can never fix what you did.
right,
But you can be like, even if the answer was, you know what? I was really drunk and I don't know what happened and I'm sorry, but like that's all that I have to say. Even that is better than like nothing at all.
right, right. Well, I I wonder if there was a reduced sentence
Mhm.
and if she, like, admitted to you that, then maybe I don't know.
Yeah, it was, like, it was a guilty plea, and
Yeah,
that's why it was like a, plea deal with the state.
it
That's
was.
Yeah, it was a plea deal with the state, and they pled guilty, and I was like, "Okay, but, like, you still aren't telling me why you did what you did." So
Yeah,
I already know you did it, everyone knows that, so what is this guilty plea even really doing?
right. And you want the answers if it comes from that person and you have to speak to them.
I would be absolutely willing and open to hearing because I think
Okay.
that although no answer will, like, make it right, at least, like, I don't know, I've heard a reason at least I don't know, like, just something.
Yeah, 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 okay, interesting. I don't know what I would do in that situation.
Mhm.
It just seems dangerous to even speak to this person,
Yeah,
and so it's like, what I want to know an answer, like, closure's obviously nice,
yeah,
but I don't know. I don't think anybody could put themselves in your situation to know exactly, and until then, they wouldn't know what they would do, so,
mhm,
wow, that's a crazy crazy story. Let me ask you this, going back to, like, the domestic violence and, like, the signs and stuff like that, like, um, did you ever think about leaving? I mean, obviously, you said that you packed up and you weren't allowed to leave.
mhm. So, it was at one point, but it wasn't towards, like, the very end. So, like, the time that I had packed up my things, I'd say it was maybe a month before I
Uh,
was shot.
okay.
So, like, it was still kind of a while, it had been some time,
Yeah,
like, of me just kind of ignoring signs and stuff like that, and I think that you're not ready to leave no one can help you make that decision. You
right.
have to decide that on your own,
Yeah,
but don't think that by deciding to leave that, like there's just so many like, people think, "Oh, well, I'm giving up." No, you're choosing yourself, and that's okay, and sometimes that's what we need to do.
yeah, yeah, absolutely. And was there ever it sounds like you wanted to leave sooner. Is that
Mhm.
accurate to say, or
Yeah, definitely feel like there were times when I was like, "Okay, yeah, I don't think I'm ready. I don't think I want this anymore."
yeah,
But then I also was like, "Well, where else am I gonna go? What
uh,
else am I gonna do?" So
yeah,
then you can feel that sense of, like, being trapped as well.
right,
And now, like, I know I have a phenomenal support system, an amazing group of people that I know now, like, I could have went to anyone.
yeah,
But, like, when you're in that situation and that person's making you feel like, "No, I'm the only thing that you have, like, this is all you have,"
yeah,
it can be really convincing.
yeah,
And unless you are willing to open your eyes and see, like, I gotta make this call," you won't ever make that call.
yeah. I think even outside of domestic violence cases, I think there's a lot of people that are in a situation where, they they might have that similar mindset of like, "Oh, I don't know if I'm gonna find anybody else,"
Mhm.
or something along those lines,
Mhm.
and they stay in maybe a toxic relationship, if
Yeah.
nothing else, or just one that they're not happy in.
Mhm.
Would you agree with
I
that?
definitely would agree with that.
Yeah, okay, interesting, and were you ever scared? Like, did you ever consider leaving and you're like, "No, like, this person's gonna hurt me," or
I think the time it was, like, the second time that I had seen the gun, and
yeah,
it was when I was packing up to leave, and that time I was like, "Yeah, I don't know." I'm not risking going out this door right now. I can't do it. And I think that was like the first time that I had ever felt like, okay, this actually is dangerous and this is not a good or safe or healthy environment. Like,
Yeah.
it's not okay. And I am a little bit in fear, but I'm a stubborn person. I'm like, I'm fine. Like, everything is okay. And I try to convince myself that things are okay when things are like actively falling apart in front of me.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. Interesting. Um, so I can cut this part out if you'd like, but before the podcast, you said, um, I think I said something like he,
mhm,
and you corrected me and said she.
mhm.
Um, I I think, the reason why I wanted to bring that up is because I think in a lot of domestic violence cases, you often think it's a guy that
Yeah.
is being abusive to a girl.
Mhm.
Is this is one, are you okay if we talk about this?
Yeah.
And
So, I think for me, that's a big reason why when I was in the situation, in my head, I'm like, "Well, this isn't." It didn't take me I didn't realize that it was domestic violence until after I was out of the situation.
oh,
So, like,
interesting.
I knew that it wasn't healthy. I knew that there were bad things going on, but I wouldn't, like, emotional and verbal abuse is still abuse.
Yeah,
Like, violence is violence at the end of the day.
yeah,
And I think that because we're so used to with that term, like, we are used to it being like a man and a woman and the man hurting the woman. When it happens with women too,
yeah,
and women on women crime, like, that is a serious thing. And because it's not talked about enough, or we don't give it the, I don't wanna say credit because I feel like that's, like, it's not, like, but the credit that it's due and, like, the awareness that it deserves, it's overlooked.
mhm,
And people are like, "Oh, well, that's not, no, that's just a fight. That's just the argument." Like,
mm,
but no, that is still abuse. That's still domestic violence at the end of the day. And some people don't realize they're in it until after they're out of it, and that's what can make it so dangerous.
yeah, right. And you said that, um, this person brought out a gun
Mhm.
multiple times and didn't ever, like, lay hands on you
Mhm.
until maybe, like,
Yeah.
the final day. Was there anything, like, thrown at you or anything like that?
So, instead of things being thrown at me, like, my things would be broken.
Oh,
My things would get broken.
they just go and, like, smash a plate.
Smash my stuff or stomp on this or, like, rip this, like,
Uh,
and that is abuse, and I
yeah,
think that because it wasn't physical against me, I was like, "Oh, well, like, I'm okay," and I didn't realize how big of an effect that all that other abuse would have.
yeah, yeah. Talk to me about the isolation. You said now you have, like, a great support
Mhm.
group, and it sounds like maybe at the time you were isolated from that support group.
Yeah, so at the time, I only hung was hanging out with, like, one person.
Okay.
So, like, everyone that I had hung out with, like, my partner at the time had kinda convinced me, like, "Oh, well, I don't really like this person," or, "I don't really like," or would prefer me to be at home.
Yeah.
And so I was just slowly spending less and less time with people.
Yeah.
And when you're not spending time with other people can't give you, like, their opinion or tell you what they're seeing happening.
Right.
And I think that I had just spent so much time, like, by myself or with my partner at the time and with no one else
Yeah.
that, like, they were all that I saw.
Yeah. Did anybody try to get through to you?
I did have a friend at one point telling me, like, "I don't think this is a good relationship for you, like, I think this is really bad." And in my head, I'm like, "Oh, well, you don't see everything that I see," when in all that was exactly what it was. They're not seeing what I see, so they're seeing what's really happening.
Right.
But then my partner at the time started, like, distancing me from even that friend.
Yeah.
So, like, it is a serious isolation game, and that's where it gets dangerous.
Yeah. Yeah. What about it, your mom was, like, the first one of the first people that you
Mhm.
called. Did they see those signs and talk to you about it, or
No, and I think it's because I just wasn't around as much.
Yeah.
Like, had me and my partner spent more time there, they more things would have been picked up on.
Yeah.
But, like, there were things that we've talked about, like, after the fact that she's like, "Yeah, I don't know, like, this would happen, and then this would happen," and I'd be like, "I don't know, Mikiahya," and I'm like, "Okay, yeah, that was the motherly intuition," like, she knew something was up, but not she couldn't put her finger on it because she wasn't seeing it all, like, firsthand.
Yeah. Did you tell anybody that a gun was pulled?
Not
Uh,
until
yeah.
after.
Okay.
Mm-mm.
So you kept that to yourself.
Mhm.
Interesting. Okay. Yeah, I mean, there's an interesting level of you know, you want especially your partner
Mhm.
to be in the best light of your friends and family.
Yeah.
And so like not telling them about that, you know, so that they don't like hate on your partner.
And then also, like, having that not telling them, and then it's like, "Okay, well, they don't see what's really going on." So, like, it
Yeah.
was definitely a tough thing too, because you wanna share, like, I want to tell everyone everything that's going on, but also, like, I don't want you to be thinking horribly of this person. And I knew that if I said certain things, like, but they still, like, kinda pick up on smaller things, but not, like, the crazy serious things going on.
Yeah. Um yeah, so um let's talk about like some of the warning signs. So if someone were listening,
Mhm.
what are like you mentioned a whole bunch of warning signs already,
Yeah.
but like if someone's listening, like let's spell it out right now. Like what warning signs should people be looking for?
Isolation, that's, like, key right there. Um, trying to, like, when there's constantly, like, back and forths and they're trying to, like, make up for it in physical things like gifts or flowers or dinner as makeups
Yeah.
instead of like, "Oh, here, this is for you, like, I got this for you." No, they're using it to, like, what it like a pacifier in a sense, like,
Yeah.
"Here, this is for you," after the, like, worst thing ever just happened.
Right.
Um,
Well, there's definitely an interesting level of like how many times does a person need to apologize to you for doing something
yeah.
really crappy um before you do something about it
Mhm.
essentially,
That's a
right?
big thing. And then another one, like, the I wanna say, like, the not messing with you, like, not hurting you physically, but hurting things you care about,
Mm,
breaking things that you like, or etcetera. Like, that was a big sign for me that I wish that I would've picked up on
yeah.
because, like, no, it wasn't physical towards me, but, like, the other stuff was physical.
Yeah.
And then, like, switching, like, there's, like, a personality switch, like, around other people.
Oh,
There was definitely, like, a personality switch that I had picked up on around other people,
right.
and I think that too, just know be aware of, like, strange actions or, like, strange, like, personality traits that you see only come out when they're around other people or when
Yeah.
they're, like, trying to, like, put on a show in a sense.
Yeah. Yeah, I think another one, and you can tell me if this is or isn't one, but another one that I heard you say kind of indirectly was you didn't want to tell people about some of the things that were happening.
Mhm.
And although I get relationships are personal and you know, so, some things
Yeah.
in a relationship you keep within, but those are like the pulling the gun and stuff like that. Those are things that um you didn't wanna tell, and I think it's really important for someone to internalize
Mhm.
why they don't wanna tell,
Yeah, for sure.
and those types of things, so maybe another warning sign is not wanting to tell those that you're close to about
What's
experiences
going
that
on.
you've had. Would you
Yeah,
yeah,
I
okay.
definitely think that's a very good thing to point out.
So, I have planned most of my podcast episodes with ChatGPT.
Mhm.
And they help me with questions. And one of the interesting things that it said that I should ask you is what do you wish young men understood about control, anger, and fear? And it's interesting because again, even ChatGPT assumes
Mhm.
that it's male. It's primarily male, which it probably is primarily male.
Yeah.
Is that do you know that statistic?
I feel like it I'm not sure, but I think it is, but I think that there's a lot that gets overlooked, like the women abusing the men or the
Yeah,
women abusing the women or men abusing men, like all of it. There's so much because we have such a straightforward, like, that's our view of what this is.
yeah, yeah. What do you think? I'm sure you've seen these on like TikTok and stuff like that. Is they will do these a male and a female will do these skits
Mhm.
where they're out in public and the female starts just wailing on the guy.
Mhm.
And then the other way around
Yeah.
happens where the man starts pushing the woman and kind of being physical, and it's a really interesting social experiment to see what people around will do.
Mhm.
You've seen
Yeah, I've
those?
seen them, and usually you'll see, like, they'll, like, just mosey past if it's the woman, like, hitting the man, and then when it switches, people are, like, just quick to hop in,
Yeah.
and I think that that goes into, like, what we're talking about because there's just a stigma around domestic violence or abuse in relationships or verbal abuse in relationships. There's just a stigma behind it, like,
Mhm,
this is it, and it's black and white, and that's all it is.
mhm.
So, when there's the other sides and other categories or other areas when we see it happen, I feel like people are quick to bat an eye and blink and just turn their cheek.
Yeah, yeah. Well, it is also interesting, like, some of those videos, like, you see people snickering when the girl's hitting the guy.
Mhm.
I am curious, have you ever seen, like, an interaction like that, which is, like, male and male or female and female?
No, not
Yeah.
I have not.
So, I guess a multi-part question is, what do you make of the dynamic of the 2 experiences with the female and male interactions? And then what do you think would happen with, like, male, male, female, female fights that break out?
I think that you, like, mentioning, like, the snickering with, like, the female like, I feel like that we would see more people being like, "Oh, well, what did he do?" Or, like, jump in and, like, defend that girl that's already picking on the guy.
Yeah,
Or, like, with the male against female situations, like, people are usually quick to step in,
yeah,
but I feel like when it's just, like, a guy and a guy or a girl and a girl, people are just they don't pay it any mind, or they'll pull out their phone and record, but no one's gonna step into that because people aren't used to, like, seeing those interactions,
yeah,
and so they're like, "Oh, I don't know what's going on, but I'm not getting involved in it," like,
yeah.
does that make sense?
Yeah, yeah, it does. I would be very curious to see it, like, you know, it's also interesting because, like, you have a word for, like, cat fight. Like,
Mhm.
you don't call a cat fight 2 guys fighting.
Right.
It's only 2 girls fighting.
Mhm.
So, yeah, I have no idea. I'd be very curious. And then the other thing is, you know, I think maybe something it shows about society is, like, with the dynamic of the guy and the girl is, do you think girls are perceived as weaker?
Mhm.
I mean, I guess on average, like, from a muscular standpoint, I think they are, um, but I I don't know. I don't know what to make of that. Like, it's just interesting. You have any thoughts?
I just think that it's just so broad, and I think that people just have their own preconceived ideas
Yeah,
and what to expect and what's going on in every situation,
yeah,
and a lot of times it's just not what it seems,
mhm,
and I think we just have to be a little bit more open-minded.
yeah, yeah. Um, what do you what do you wish someone watching this that might be going through something similar? What do you hope that they'd take from this?
Just knowing that, like, there are resources out there.
Yeah,
There are people out there that care, and people are like, there are people that care, and they're gonna do everything in their power to make sure that you are okay.
yeah,
So, like, even when you feel like you have absolutely no one, I promise you, like, there's someone even I'll be there, like, I'll be that one person, like,
yeah,
if you have nobody, but, like, there's always so many more people than you think that are there for you and, like, rooting for you and willing to support you, so, like,
Mhm.
even when it feels extremely hard, you just have to speak out.
Mhm.
Like, speak up and speak out because until you say something, there's nothing that can be done.
Yeah. Yeah. What do you say to a friend or family member that's witnessing something like this? What can they do?
Be supportive, let that person know that, like, you're there,
Mhm.
um, and openly, like, judgments and stuff can really push people away.
Yeah.
So, like, knowing that you're there for them and you're not gonna judge and, like, you are just in their corner and you just want them to succeed, be safe, happy, and healthy,
Yeah.
and just, like, really mean that, that's all you really can do until that person's ready to, like, make that decision and, like, reaches out to you.
Sure. Yeah. Now that you know the signs of like what domestic violence looks like, um, did you have any other relationships before that had the signs as well?
No, I wouldn't say that it had the signs, but I would say that, like, now I'm a lot better at judging character.
Right.
Like, before, like, I might see something and just ignore it or roll my eyes to it, but now I'm a lot more aware
Yeah.
and just observant. I'm
Yeah.
very observant.
Have you, if you don't mind me asking, have you had a relationship since this?
No,
Okay.
it's definitely, like, made me bit standoffish, and I did, like, my work with therapy, like, mental therapy and counseling
Yeah.
to, like, get me to a point where I'm like, "Okay, I can process things, like, life continues,
Yeah.
it's gonna be okay." And so for a while, I was so focused on, like, my healing physically that it was the last thing on my mind was a relationship,
Yeah.
and then I got to the point where I'm like, "Okay, well, I'm healed physically, maybe I could try a relationship," and then I had to start my mental counseling because I'm like, "Nope, there's too much going on,"
Right.
and now I feel like I'm at a good point to where I can
Mhm.
do that, but I'm just so much more observant. My whole perspective is different on life entirely.
Yeah.
So, like, I just have a very different approach to just everything.
Yeah. Have you dated? Like,
I've
been on
dated.
dates?
Mhm,
Okay. In like, comparing, like, let's say, pre-injury
mhm.
to now, like, what's different?
I would say my standards are very high, but I
Okay.
think it's because I know more of my own value now,
Yeah.
and, like, I see myself fully,
Yeah.
and I know what I won't settle for, I know what I won't allow,
Right.
so it's made me a little bit more picky,
Yeah.
but in a good way because, like, I know signs to look out for. I know, like, different crowds that I don't wanna be around, like,
Mhm.
and stuff like that, and I know, like, more about myself and what I wanna surround myself with.
Yeah. Absolutely. What about, like, aside from the standards that you have,
Mhm.
like, dating as a person in a wheelchair versus able-bodied?
So, it's definitely a little bit different because I feel like, some people don't see past the chair,
Yeah.
and then some people, like, they try to compare too many things because, like, I've spent majority of my life walking around,
Yeah.
and so, like, people, like, go from, "Oh, you were walking, you were doing all this, and you were normal,
Yeah.
and now you're in a wheelchair and everything's different," and I'm like, "I'm still myself."
Right.
Like, through and through.
Right.
And so some people, like, get that and some people don't, and so I don't really care to surround myself with the people that don't get it because if you don't get it, you don't get it,
Right.
and it's not for me, and that's okay because not everybody has, like, the capacity and understanding and openness to just understand that, like, okay, yeah, like, they are like, she's the exact same as she was, she's just using a wheelchair now, like,
Yeah.
she's the same person.
Yeah.
And not everyone can do that, which is really weird to me, but I think that it's just, like, shows my perspective, but then again, like, had I not been in the situation I was, I would have no idea about everything that I do.
Yeah. Right. Um, so with the relationship, you lost friends You got distance with friends.
Mhm.
After you didn't have that relationship anymore, and so did you reconnect with friends,
I did.
and then did you lose some friends based on your injury?
I did.
Interesting.
So, I went through a wave where, like, there were so many people that were, like, up there and wanting to, like, be around and wanting to support, and then obviously, like, some people just come around just to, like, be in the mix of everything.
Yeah,
And then you have your genuine people who, like, come back and they're like, "Oh my gosh, like, what are we gonna do? Like, how can we get through this?" But there also came a point where, like, I had lost everybody, like, all my friends after the fact.
wow.
And I was just kinda isolated, and I was just in my house, and I was like, "Oh, okay, like, this is what it is." But then I learned to make new types of friendships and relationships.
Okay.
Like, my values and beliefs are mostly the same, but I look at things differently.
Yeah,
So, I connect with people in completely different ways, and I feel like the people that, like, I became friends with after the fact, those have been some of my most meaningful relationships and friendships.
yeah, cool. Why do you think that is that you lost friends as a result of being disabled?
Some people, I feel like, just didn't know how to be around the chair itself. Like, I really feel like some people just couldn't grasp the fact that, like, I'm in a chair, and that's fine. Like, if you don't, that's fine. Everyone's entitled to feel how they feel.
Yeah,
But I'm still me at the end of the day. Like, I'm still a human being.
yeah,
And I will say this, I don't think that there's anything that I've come to face that really cannot do.
yeah,
Like, there's a lot of things that are extremely difficult, but, like, there's nothing that I've come into contact with that I absolutely cannot do.
right.
Or if something's not accessible, we have to do something a little bit different, take a longer route, make it work. But, like, some people are willing to make that work, some people aren't, and it's okay if you're not,
Yeah,
but I don't wanna I don't wanna feel like a burden because I'm not a burden.
right,
If you're in my life, it's because you're choosing to be there,
right.
and I won't allow other people to make me feel like a burden because, like, I got to a point where I am very independent. I do pretty much everything for myself. So if you're feeling some type of way about me, like, coming along when I'm driving myself there and I'm lugging my chair and putting it together all by myself, that's not my issue, and it's not something that I have to deal with.
Right. Yeah. Interesting. It's interesting. So Abby Marsh talked about she was in high school when this happened, and like a lot of she lost a lot of friends as
Mhm.
well due to the fact that like let's say one of her friends had a birthday party, their house wasn't accessible,
Mhm.
and then they just didn't invite her because the house wasn't accessible, and she's in an electric wheelchair too.
Yeah.
So electric wheelchairs, it's a little bit easier to like get up steps if
Mhm.
the bathroom's on the same level and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But for Abby in an electric wheelchair, it's like she just didn't get invited. Did that happen to you as
Yes.
well?
So, like, there were people that I was spending a lot of time with before my injury and, like, would talk to all the time, see all the time. And the thing is, I'm not in an accessible apartment.
Yeah.
So, like, it takes a lot for me to get back into my place.
You're not currently in an accessible
No.
apartment? Oh.
But I make it work. So, like, I've bounced backwards down the steps, and I've learned how to get up the steps, like, and then pull the chair up. Jake told me about that. I've seen Jake do it. But, like, there's a lot that's not accessible. So for me to get out and back in my house was a lot, but I lived close to everyone.
Yeah.
And people would just be like, "Oh, well, my place isn't accessible," so I wouldn't get invited.
Wow.
Or like me, I would invite people over, but people are like, no." But like the not getting invited because people don't want to hurt your feelings
Right.
and they don't want to take that extra step to either make it accessible or check to see if it's accessible.
Right.
Because what a lot of people don't realize, even if something is not accessible, most things are not accessible
Right.
and we make it accessible.
Exactly.
So like I don't know, like, you could just that invite means so much more than that house being accessible.
Yeah, right. Yeah, I totally agree with you. And it's interesting because like you call like a restaurant or something like that and say, "Hey, are you guys accessible?" And they say
Mhm.
no. And the reason is because there's just one step up
A
into the
curve.
restaurant. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's a curb, and it's like most people in a wheelchair can get up a freaking curb.
Yeah.
So I always talk about like for anybody that's listening is like don't assume,
Mhm.
like let them like tell you
Yeah.
instead of assuming that they can or cannot do it.
Mhm.
So
And I feel like most people too, I'm like everyone's not an open book. I'm a very open book. You can ask me absolutely anything and I'll talk about it
yeah,
and I'll yap and yap and yap. But I feel like most people in our situation or similar situations, we would rather you ask like
yeah,
you're what? You ask a question. I feel like people were like, "Oh, well, is that a dumb question?" No, it's not dumb because how would you know if you never asked? If I
yeah,
didn't end up in my chair, I would never know a lot of things,
yeah,
and I would ask a lot.
yeah.
So,
There are as much as I like that sentiment of like there's no dumb questions, there's dumb questions.
yeah,
Like have you ever thought about putting a motor on your wheelchair?
yeah.
Like those are dumb questions that like I hear all the time. But
Some of them can be a little out of pocket. I've
yeah,
heard some out of pocket questions. Oh my goodness.
yeah, yeah. What's like the most
The most out of pocket question. Oh, I use this one every single time. So, it was someone that I knew, like, really well, like, we were friends, and so they asked because I have crazy spasms, like,
uh,
insane leg spasms.
uh,
I'll stand up, lock up, like and it's not me doing anything, they're just moving on their own.
yeah.
But they were like, "So, when are they gonna decide to, like, amputate your legs?"
No.
And I was like, "Amputate my legs?" And they were like, "Well, yeah, 'cause, like, they spaz and this" and I'm like, "Well, there's nothing wrong with them, really, they're just not connecting right. They're
Yeah,
just not doing what they need to, but, like, they don't have to amputate them, I promise."
yeah,
But I think that was the one question where I was like, "Wait, what?" But
yeah.
that was the most out of pocket question
Yeah.
ever.
Well, so I was born with club feet,
Mhm.
and the doctor told my parents that they said, "Well, it'd be easier if we just amputated
Mhm.
his feet." And it's like, "No, we're not
He
amputating
said,
my
"What?"
son's feet."
No.
So, yeah, that's interesting. Even doctors do that, I guess.
Yeah.
And the other thing, you can maybe fill this in, but like one of my friends, Matt, who's been on the podcast, he's paralyzed from the waist down,
Mhm.
and there is a level of stability that even if you can't feel or move your legs, that your legs give you
Yeah.
while sitting.
Yeah. 100%.
Yeah, yeah. So I just wanted to fill that context in for people. So, um, okay, is there anything else about the relationship, domestic violence, your injury, and anything else that you want to get into with that?
Mm, no.
No. Okay. I just wanted to leave an open blanket of one question you did get into like the a little bit of the journey of like after the fact, but like if someone listening were like uh, knows someone who's newly disabled, what do you think the best piece of advice for that person would be?
Point them to the bridge.
Point them to the bridge. Yes, I
Yeah,
love
that's,
that.
like, my one thing is just point them to the bridge to, like, look stuff up. I was literally in the bed, like, the hospital bed and in the rehab bed, like, scrolling on Instagram trying to find different videos on paraplegics because I didn't know what was going on, like, everything was so new.
Yeah,
So just educate yourself and don't be afraid to try anything.
yeah,
Just try anything because I've built so many phenomenal, like, friendships and relationships out of the people that I've met
yeah,
just trying things. Like, so many people in my daily life are people that I've, like, collected and met along my journey almost the past 3 years, and they're all from different experiences.
yeah, yeah. That's awesome. Yeah. So the bridge is local in Cincinnati.
Mhm.
What I would say to other people is, I, I'm a huge advocate. So it sounds like you are too of adaptive sports,
Mhm.
and I think it's critical to get involved in adaptive sports as soon as possible.
Yeah.
Because it's so good for your mental health. And if you're in a city, obviously that's not Cincinnati that doesn't have a bridge, reach out to me. I can. There's there's so many sports that you can play with able-bodied
Mhm.
people, or you could just start your own
Yeah.
in the city that you're in if the if there's not any adaptive sports available or anything like that, and I'd be happy to help, and I'm sure, Micaiah, you would too,
Oh,
so,
yeah. I'm always trying to learn something new
yeah.
and figure out what's going on and try all the sports, so
Yeah, I mean, I think the bridge has done such a great job that I would love to see it expand into
Mhm.
other cities,
Oh,
and,
yeah.
I just oh, I think it's such a needed entity, within Cincinnati, and, like, I can't imagine, like, where Cincinnati Tennis Foundation would be, or the Dragons, or,
Mhm.
all the other it just
UC Athletics,
yeah.
they played a big yeah, there's
Right,
just
the track chairs
so
and
much.
yeah, yeah, among other things, I'm sure, but, yeah, it's been awesome, so, um, okay, let me just look at my questions real quick, see if there's anything from that I missed. Um, yeah, I think I'm good. We talked about that, yep, okay, friendships, man, I didn't even have to write any of these questions down 'cause, we covered those. Okay, so let's get into, your you being a speaker, you being a coach, you being a model, all of that. So, did it sounds like many a few at least a few of those things happened after you were injured.
All of them.
All of them.
Yeah,
Okay, interesting.
all of them.
So, let's start with coaching.
Mhm.
How did what do you coach, and how did that come about?
Yeah, so I coach a peewee cheer team,
Okay,
in my local city, Erlanger.
okay,
But, I cheered for the team when I was younger, and then I cheered in high school and then a tiny bit in college,
okay.
and then, like, I wanna say close to a year after my initial injury, I got the opportunity to coach the peewee team, and I was like, "Oh, well, I'll do it." I wasn't working at the time, I hadn't been working for, like, a year,
Yeah.
and so just getting back into normalcy, I was like, "Yeah, I think that this would be really good for me." So I've been coaching the peewee cheer team the past I think this will be my 3rd year doing
Oh,
it,
wow, okay,
uh,
awesome.
something like that, 2 or 3 years, but I absolutely love it and it's really cool. I get to work with all different age groups. So my first year, I had like junior seniors, which is like 12-year-olds. And then the next year, I had a lower age group. So they were like 8 to 10.
Mm,
And then this year, I think I have the older group again. So it'll be pretty cool.
yeah,
But yeah, I love coaching. I was a cheerleader. So I was like, okay. And it's the team that I was on when I was younger. So I was like, this is a perfect mix.
yeah, yeah. Okay, cool, and you coach it's primarily able-bodied, but you
Yeah.
have coached disabled.
Yeah, so we did have a girl that, had, she was in a wheelchair, and then she got out of her wheelchair the first year I coached, which was pretty cool.
Awesome, awesome, okay. And so she got like, she had a broken leg or something like
No,
that?
so she just had a different kind of ability, and I don't know exactly what it is, and I don't wanna, like, butcher it or anything, but she got better and was healing, and so she was able to walk a little bit better, and so she's just progressed and gotten better
Okay,
each season.
awesome. Okay, and what is this as far as the direction you wanna go with this? Is it just you continue to coach or
I think just coach, and I think for me, it's more of like, I don't know, it's just more fun for me, and I like being involved, and I like being able to expose the kids to disability awareness.
yeah, yeah. Yeah, that's one cool thing with Cincinnati Tennis Foundation is we coach able-bodied and
Mhm,
disabled people, and sometimes we'll have the able-bodied people volunteer or just in play with or interact with, our disabled players as well, and so they get that exposure, and
mhm.
I think that's pretty important, so, um, okay, what about being a speaker?
Yeah, so I'm in school right now for communication, specifically because I want to do public speaking.
Cool.
So I've done a few like interviews with different news broadcasters. I've spoken at a couple events for the bridge. I have a friend who is a teacher and I've spoken at her class a few times.
Cool.
I've spoken at a few different schools as well with Jake, just like
Yep.
spreading knowledge about the adaptive athletics program.
Mhm.
And then like MSJ, I've spoken there. So
Okay.
like anywhere that I get the opportunity to speak, I'm like, yeah, I'll speak.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah, it's like that yes philosophy that
Mhm.
you mentioned earlier.
Yep.
Like, okay, that's awesome. And, have you gotten paid for anything?
I have not, I've kinda done everything just for, like, the experience
Sure.
of it, and
Yeah.
I it's fun, but I know that I have opportunities to get paid for it, which is kinda cool because I know that when I'm ready to take that next step and, like, push it farther, I have that ability
Yeah.
to.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a goal of mine too, is
Mhm.
to do public speaking and stuff like that, and one of the motivations for starting the podcast is to like, just get comfortable on the camera,
Mhm.
get comfortable talking with people. Like, I mean, you and I have known each other in the past, but we've never really had a conversation
Yes,
like
that
this before. So,
yeah.
like, just getting comfortable with that and all that, which I've never not been comfortable having conversations with people, but like, I don't know. So, I also I think a dream of mine would be on it would be to get on a TED Talk.
Mhm.
Um,
That's a big goal of mine too.
if you did a TED Talk, what would let's say a 15-20 minute TED Talk, what specifically, obviously domestic violence and disability, but what within that umbrella?
I think that I would speak mainly about, like, overcoming your own personal, like, limitations
Yeah,
or expected limitations.
yeah, I like that. Yeah, to kinda just open up a discussion about limitations, uh, I think one of the really important things is kinda twofold, like, you're more capable than who you are,
Mhm.
which is number one. But also, as a disabled person, it's important to understand your limitations as well.
Yeah.
So like I always think about like, being a firefighter. And it's like that's not gonna happen.
Mhm.
Like, and that's fine. Like the cool thing is I have so many different avenues. I'm not never gonna be a professional football player.
Mhm.
And again, that's fine too, right? And so it's like, but there's all these adaptive athlete paths that I could
Right.
take if I wanted to go that like the professional sports route and all that. So um yeah, so would that be when it comes to like speaking, what what other like things are you hoping that people take away from your story, your talk, all that?
I think that I would just want people to know that they can overcome very big setbacks,
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
just overcoming setbacks,
Yeah.
testing the waters.
Yeah. Yeah. What would you think one of the biggest actionables for overcoming a setback is?
We were talking about failure earlier,
Yeah.
and I think just not being afraid to fail,
Love that.
just trying,
Mhm.
because, like, your 100% looks different every single day.
Yeah.
So as long as you're being consistent and trying to do your best, that's all you can do.
Right.
Like, you can't be upset at yourself if you know that you gave the 100% that you had that day.
Yeah.
So just being consistent at that.
Yeah. Love that. Okay. Tell me about modeling.
So that's pretty cool. I've had some really cool opportunities recently. I've participated in 2 fashion shows.
Wow.
So one was, the first one I did was with Girls on the Run, and they were like, "We're having this soiree, and we would like you to model for us," and I thought it was really cool. I did it with Danny Meyer.
Okay.
And it was fun. I really liked it. And then a couple weeks later, I went to Atlanta and I participated in a fashion able show. And so pretty much all the designers, I think that it was like 85% of the designers had a different disability.
Oh, cool.
And so I got to model like 4 different brands and like go on the runway. It was just really cool and seeing all the different people there like with different disabilities and just the big, what is the word? Just like the large crowd of so many different people.
Yeah.
It was really cool to be a part of it.
Yeah.
And then, I wanna say like a month ago, I had the opportunity to model for this clothing brand called Love Emma, and it's a new brand and everything is like adapted in some way. There's like QR codes on it to scan it. There's like hooks on the zippers, just really cool, inclusive fashion. And so I modeled for that brand for their like brand photo shoot. And so now I feel like I'm not kidding when I say I'm a model now because I'm like, I've got a few things under my belt now.
Yeah, right, and were those paying gigs, or did you do that for experience as well?
All for experience, but I got, like, clothing from each thing that I did, so I'm
Great.
like, "That's a good balance for me."
Yeah, yeah, free clothing,
Yeah.
let's go. That's awesome. In what is there specific clothing that you model, or is it can be anything, or
I do pretty much anything, like,
okay.
I am the yes man.
Uh,
You let me know and I'll do it,
yeah,
but,
yeah,
the one brand had a lot of, like, streetwear,
yeah,
and then the first show was more like adaptive clothing, and then the most recent one I did was, like, very dressy, like, boutique style,
yeah.
so
So I think of adaptive clothing in like, let's say I'm missing an arm,
Mhm.
they wouldn't have the armhole or something along those lines. How does for you who has all your limbs and all that, like what's the difference between the clothing you wore versus other clothing?
So, like, now there's not many pieces that I own that are, like, from adaptive brands
Yeah.
or accessible brands, but I have, like, a preferred, like, style sense, like, I like stretchy clothing that's, like, easy to get on and off, and then I do really bad with textures.
Uh,
Like, my skin, my body just my sensory does not like textures at all, which this is, like, one thing, like, I'm managing, but, like,
yeah.
if stuff's, like, too tight or itchy, like, it'll just send me into a spiral.
Uh,
And then I just like everything being, yeah, just, like, stretchy and easy to, like,
yeah.
move around.
Okay. That makes sense. Yeah. And then I would almost think, like, something else that you could benefit from, me too, is since we both can't feel our feet,
Mhm.
having some sort of shoes that are maybe easier to slip on or something
Yes.
like that,
Uh,
but don't fall off.
yeah. I'm like, I need to have that ankle strap in the back, but, like, I don't want my toes bunched up in the front.
Yeah.
Like, tell me what can I do?
Yeah, yeah, interesting. Okay, so the other question, how often so from, coaching, speaking, modeling, how often do you do these things?
I usually stay busy.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah,
I'm usually always doing something.
cool.
Um, like, it's May, and I've done all 3 fashion shows this year in
Wow.
January. Like, I did one, I wanna say January, one in, like, April,
Mhm.
one in, like, March or something. But, like, I stay busy, like, between that kinda stuff, and then speaking is more so, like, during the school year for me. Um because my teacher friends, like, it's usually more of a school year thing. Coaching, we actually just kicked off our season. So, like, I'm constantly there's always something going on, and there's never a dull moment. Like,
Yeah.
that's one thing, there's never a dull moment.
Yeah.
And if I'm, like, sitting relaxed, I'm probably forgetting about something.
Yeah, right. Okay. Well, cool, and then what would you say connects all these things, including adaptive sports? Like, y you're venturing into all these different things, and there's
Yeah.
seemingly not a lot of connection with them, but for
No.
some reason, you've gravitated towards all of them,
Yeah, I'm
and it's
like,
still you.
yeah, I think the connection is me. I'm
Yeah.
like I don't know, like, what brings everything together. I really just I have a lot of hobbies, and
Yeah.
I like to do everything, and that's one thing, like, I wanna learn everything, I wanna do everything, I wanna practice and do this and do that, and explore this and see that.
Yeah.
So, I don't know, like, I think sports is, like, the one, like, thing that's, like, pretty universal,
Mhm.
um, and people.
Mm, yeah. Y
Sports and people.
you seem like a pretty big people person.
Mhm.
Yeah, yeah. And you're an extrovert?
Yeah, I'm a, like, social butterfly, but I'm also, like, I can be very introverted, but I'm an extrovert.
Got it, okay. Yeah, you mentioned kinda, something along the lines of, like, you like to watch and listen or
Mhm.
something like that, so yeah, okay, interesting. Um, anything else on coaching or modeling or public speaking, anything like that that you wanna mention?
Not that I can think of. I feel like once I leave here, I'm gonna be like, "Oh, there's so much
Uh,
that I should have said."
yeah, well, so I do have a few other topics that I wanna get into, but, one of the questions I always like to ask is how long do you think we've been going for right now?
Oh, what, like 2? It doesn't feel like that long though. I
Yeah, it doesn't.
I wanna say like 2 hours but it doesn't feel like that long.
No, it doesn't. What baffles me, we've been going 2 hours, 34 minutes,
Okay.
and everybody, like, cuts it short or
Mhm.
says a shorter time because, like, I don't know what it is about just having this kinda conversation,
Mhm.
but, like, they just fly
Yeah, I
by.
was gonna say 2 felt like long it felt wrong saying 2 hours, like, I
Yeah.
was like, "I don't think it's 2 hours."
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's pretty awesome. This is one of the reasons why I love podcasting.
Mhm.
It's just getting to know people and hearing their story
Mhm.
and asking them questions and all that. So, and yeah, it's just it's a blast. So, okay, so let's get into a little bit of a disability society, kind of philosophical disabled discussion as well.
Okay.
So when so one, do people call you inspirational?
Yeah.
And okay, so I can already based on your reaction, I can already
They
tell what your thoughts are on this. But what when people call you inspirational, how does that make you feel?
I feel like it really depends on the context because, like, it's one thing to say, like, "Oh my gosh, that's so inspirational," after you've done, like, a half marathon and a 10K and this, that, and the third.
Yeah.
So that okay, cool. But if I'm just going down the street and I'm just checking the mailbox
Yeah.
and I go back up the hill to get back to my apartment, and then people are like, "You know what? You're inspirational." I'm like, "I just went down to the mailbox just like you did."
Yeah.
Like, I just had to go to the mailbox. So it just depends on the context, really, because, like, give props where props is due,
Yeah.
but we don't have to sugarcoat life, like,
Right.
just because I did what I needed to survive. Like,
Right.
I don't know. It's big on context. Like, if I've done something cool, then yeah, like, you can tell me I'm cool.
Right.
But, like, if I'm getting in the car, like, I do that every day, a bunch of times a day. Like, I have
Yeah.
to do that.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, it's like, for an able-bodied person listening that maybe doesn't understand that, I always equate it to imagine someone saying good job for putting on your shoes.
mhm.
It's like it's the same concept. Like you do it every day. It's not crazy.
Yeah.
Like stop.
I'm like, there's some things that, like, I choose to do and some things I have to do, and I don't wanna get praised for doing the things I have to do.
Right, right. Can we go back to your apartment? Because I wanted to ask you about
Yeah.
this when you first mentioned it. You said your apartment's not accessible.
Yeah.
How
So,
inaccessible is it?
when you get there, there's, like, stairs. There's 3 stairs that I think you go up. I had to get a portable ramp. So, I bought a portable ramp for my
Okay.
apartment door and then a bungee to, like, hold the door open
Oh.
because they're like, "There's nothing we can do." My first chair, because this is my 2nd chair, did not fit in the bathroom at all. So, I had a whole separate chair to go, like, I would get out of my chair in the hallway, get in the chair that, like, goes in the bathroom, and then, like, scoot to the
Oh.
shower because I didn't fit in there. I've, like, busted all the door frames.
Oh my
Um,
gosh.
none of my sinks are, like, roll under sinks, so I'm, like, twisting and turning every time I'm at the sink.
Yeah.
All my cabinets are, like, high like, it's just a normal regular apartment, and
Yeah.
there's just no accessibility features, but I make it work.
Right.
So,
So, how long have you been in this apartment?
since I, like, came home from rehab, so, like, 3 years.
Okay. And why haven't you moved?
So, it's just it works, like, it does work, we make it work. So,
Yeah.
I live with my mom, and so
Uh,
we kinda just make everything work, and although I can't like, the biggest thing for me now is the stairs into the building.
yeah.
Like, that's the one thing that I just don't like it at all. I
Mhm.
can go backwards down the steps, that's fine, but it's when I wanna go inside of the apartment that I'm like, "Okay, now I gotta bump up these steps if no one's home to help me get up this ramp because it's so steep."
Yeah.
But I managed like, once I figured out how to do that on my own, I was like, "Oh, this is okay, I can do it." But, like,
Yeah.
when it's snowing, you can't do that. When
Right.
it's raining, you can't do that. If
Oh,
I'm sore, I can't do that. So it's like,
right.
what are you gonna do? But I'm supposed to be going on campus in the fall, and I'll be all accessible there, so it'll
Oh,
be nice.
awesome. Okay, great. Yeah, it's interesting because you've been living like that for so long
Mhm.
that I'm curious. Like, I'm sure you're like gonna get into an accessible place and be like, "Oh my
I
gosh."
know. I'm like, "Ooh, wait, you mean I can just roll underneath the sink?"
Yeah. Yeah, right. Well, so my current house was not accessible when I bought it,
Mhm.
but I added a ramp in the garage, and I have a stair, like a chair that goes up and down the steps.
Okay.
To it's only to the lower level, which I don't really use, but then I have like a washer dryer that I installed in one of the closets in the guest bedroom. So I made it accessible, but
Yeah.
like I don't know, for a while I was doing the laundry in the basement and like getting my wheelchair up the steps, and I can walk a little bit. So
Mhm.
like it was obviously a little bit easier for me, and I can't imagine not being able to walk and having to go through all that as well. That's
Yeah.
that's pretty crazy. Glad you make it work though.
Yeah, I do. That's one thing that I'm like, "Okay, we made it work." And then with my, like, new chair, the one I have now, this one fits in the bathroom, so we don't have the, like,
Yeah,
crazy switcheroo magical chairs game anymore.
yeah. Have you ever heard of the term inspiration porn?
No.
So the inspiration porn is basically there's a TED Talk about it. It's a
Mhm,
really cool TED Talk. A lady in a wheelchair it's titled "I'm not your inspiration, thank you very much." And it's basically how she talks about like things like, you getting your chair out of your car and
mhm.
people just getting the feels because they think it's so inspirational that you can do that.
Yeah.
There's all these pictures online of like an amputee skiing down a hill that says like something like "you can be anything you want to be" or something stupid along those lines, and like it's like it's only there to like give people the feels,
Mhm,
right? And one of the takes, and I don't know that I've fully hashed this out, but one of the takes that I've had on like inspiration is like I'm okay being your inspiration for getting out of bed in the morning if you don't just have the feels for it.
mhm.
If it changes your life in some way because you
Yeah.
think, well, I can do something a little bit better because this person can, and so I have no excuses. Although I still think that's patronizing,
Mhm,
and there's something I think that's maybe wrong about that picture. I, there's a certain extent that of me that's like I don't care as long as you're improving your own life as a result of it.
mhm.
But I don't want you to just be like, you're an inspiration and then continue on with your life and not do anything about that feeling of
Yeah.
inspiration. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Any added thoughts?
I definitely like, I can get that because I feel like it's one thing to, like, be inspired to do something, but, like, oh, you're just feeling like, "Oh, I'm so inspired by you," and just magical and radical, but, like, the difference between not doing anything to, like, use it and make it something better for yourself, I think that I've never thought of it like that before, and I
Yeah.
think that I like that.
Yeah, and I do think you were talking about there's it depends on what it is.
Mhm.
Like you won the flying pig.
Yeah.
Like that is something that somebody could feel
Mhm.
inspiration towards you for, and that's a more legitimate reason to be inspired by you,
Mhm.
right? So it's it's interesting. I do think thinking about this is probably the first time I've thought about this angle, but thinking about like being inspired by someone who's getting up out of bed, there there's likely something more that that person is doing that's not surface level
Mhm.
that you could be legitimately inspired by.
Yeah.
Like for example, people are inspired by you getting your chair out of your car and yet they have no idea that you won the flying pig.
Mhm.
So like that's interesting, and so maybe my message is, like, find that if you feel inspired by something patronizing like that, find that other thing
Mhm.
and get inspired by that instead.
I like
I
that.
don't know, just a thought. Okay, let me ask you another one. How do you feel about words like handicap or disabled, wheelchair bound? Are any of those triggering or any words specifically triggering to
I
you?
never, like, felt any way about, like, disabled or, like, wheelchair bound, but, like, handicapped. I don't know why, but I'm like, I don't know. I feel like I'm not capped out, like, I don't know. And then my sister, the one day, she was like, "Yeah, handy capable," and I was like, "Yeah, I'm handy capable," but I don't know.
Yeah.
I just feel like it puts, like, a limitation
Yeah.
or, like, a false
Perception of who you are.
yeah, like, people are disabled in so many different ways, and there's so many different disabilities, so many different abilities, like, I don't know, so I just feel like it can have a negative connotation, and it's not really what I use, like, even when I'm going to park in, like, a handicap parking spot, I say I'm going to paralyzed parking.
Mhm.
That's, like, how I talk about my parking spot. I'm like,
Yeah.
"Yeah, it's my paralyzed parking pass." But like, I don't know, and I've definitely said that I'm, like, wheelchair bound before, like but I've never described myself as handicapped, and I
Yeah.
think that it's because I don't feel like there's a cap in, like, what I can do.
Yeah.
Like, there obviously is,
Yeah,
but,
sure.
like, I feel like there's just a negative
Sure.
thing with it, and I don't that's just one that I don't like.
Yeah, yeah, that's fair. In the advocacy world, I've talked to a few, and handicap is supposedly a bad word, and there's some history behind
Mhm.
why and stuff like that that you can Google on your own. I won't get into it, but um, I mean, I'm one of those people that just I don't care what you call me.
Yeah.
There are negative connotations to different things, and as I've been having these conversations with people, there are certain things like inspiration that are kind of trigger words for me
Mhm.
to an extent, depending on the context, and then like um special, you're a special person,
Mhm.
like that also has a negative connotation because there's Paralympics and then there's Special Olympics,
Mhm.
and Special Olympics are not for physically disabled
Yeah.
people, they're for mentally disabled, and, like, that's almost, like, patronizing when you use special, and, so there's different words like that. There the other one that I like to bring up is, the new politically correct verbiage is individual with a disability,
Oh,
and I cannot stand that verbiage.
yeah. I don't know, I'm not just gonna go around I'm an individual with a disability.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Nice to meet
It's
you.
just a
Like
mouthful,
yeah,
and it seems like somebody able-bodied invented that term. I
I
don't know, but
yeah, I feel like it's just a lot of words just to categorize someone into a box.
yeah.
Like, and they're like, "Okay, how can we say this the most, like, respectful way possible?"
Mhm.
So, mm-mm.
Yeah, and I also one of the things that I wanna, kinda fight against, um, and I've said this on prior podcasts, and I apologize if I'm repeating myself and you guys are bored of this, but, um, I think we're living in a world where we're way too sensitive about words, and we're teaching people to be sensitive about those words.
Yeah.
Instead of the term when I was or the saying when I was growing up is "Sticks and stone may break my bones, but words will never hurt me."
Mhm.
Now, obviously, you know, that if your best friend said something to you that was really mean or whatever else, like, okay, like that, but a complete stranger saying the word handicap and not realizing that it's inappropriate or whatever, which I don't think it is.
Mm-mm.
Um, I don't know. It's like people are just too sensitive, and I think instead of us trying to change the world and say, "Hey, don't use these words," able-bodied people, I think we should just be teaching disabled people to toughen up a little bit
Yeah.
and like let stuff like that roll off because we have bigger fish to fry from an accessibility standpoint in the
Mhm.
world and like issues and stuff like that. Like, I don't know. I'm pretty passionate about that.
No, I definitely can see that and definitely agree with that because I don't know, people are going to say things all the time and we can't just like take everything personally. And like life is already difficult. We
Yeah.
got to be tough.
Yeah.
Like we just got to get through it because the thing is people's words are only having as much value as we give them.
Yeah.
So like if you want to be bothered every time you hear someone say this or that, then sure be my guest, but like at the end of the day, it's just not worth it.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. And you're also there's a sense of like you're letting an external person who you don't even know
Exactly.
affect your mood
Mhm.
and affect how you feel, and, like, that's just not who I am, and,
Yeah.
like, if I had kids, like, I wouldn't raise my kids to be offended by just words,
Words.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's like, I don't know, but anyway, anything else on that? No?
Mm.
What's one accessibility issue that annoys you the most?
Parking. Oh my goodness, parking.
Parking.
There's yes, parking, it's so bad. There's never enough parking spots, so my inaccessible apartment, they didn't even have the accessible spots when I was there. They added them because of me, I requested them, thank you.
Nice.
But, like, I'll go so many places and I'm like, "There's just not enough accessible parking spaces." Like,
Yeah.
it's there's just not. And I'm pretty good at parallel parking now because I've, like, made my way through and I can do it, but, like, parking is one thing. Curbs kind of, like, when there's, like, a crosswalk and there's, like, a big curb in the middle of it,
Yeah.
like, getting down to it, I'm like, "How am I supposed?" Okay, but, like, now I can do my wheelies and, like, wheelie down, wheelie up, but, like,
Right.
for other people, not everyone can do that.
Yeah, yeah. It's interesting parking, Abby Marsh, who I've mentioned multiple times on
Mhm,
this podcast, she also said parking.
mhm.
And it's interesting. So one, I load my wheelchair in my hatchback, and then I
Okay.
walk,
Mhm,
so I don't notice the parking issue as much, and
mhm.
I also don't think because parking spots, one of the primary uses for handicap parking spots is that little, "Hey, you can't park here"
Is the loading.
space for loading and unloading your wheelchair, and I don't need that, and I can go further distances as well, so like, unless I'm, like, going to Renaissance Festival or
Mhm.
where the parking's just atrocious and it's gravel or grass, like,
Yeah.
I tend to try to avoid parking there because I don't necessarily need it since I can walk a little bit,
Mhm.
so it's interesting because I haven't noticed that, do you like, I know there's the law is, like, a certain percentage of parking spots have to be
Yeah.
accessible, and so you would just make that larger.
Mhm.
What would you say if, like, parking is already bad? Like, have you ever been to, Mad Tree?
Yes.
So Mad Tree parking is one of the worst, and a
Mhm.
lot of times they'll park across the street,
Yeah.
to get in there. Like, expanding the handicap parking spots in Mad Tree would be nice, but then, everybody else is having to park across the street, and it's like, if the parking spots aren't being used
Mhm.
and all that, it's like, I don't know, like, there comes a certain extent, like, it's almost like, let's say you go to Costco or something like that, like, during the day, maybe there's not as many people and you can reduce the amount of parking. Like, you know how when you go to Chicago, there's, like, different lanes of traffic,
Oh,
and
yeah.
they open up some lanes and
And
close
close
other
the
lanes,
others.
and it's like, I feel like something like that needs to happen because I'd hate for, like, the handicap accessible spots to go unused as well, especially if there's 20 and there's only 1 spot that someone's taking.
Mhm.
Something like that, I don't know.
I've definitely parking, it's the parking. I don't know, like, every time I go somewhere, there's just not enough. I'll double park, so,
Oh,
like,
yeah.
directly in the middle of the 2 parking spots so many times
Yeah.
just because I'm like, "Well, I can't get out of here, like, I'm
Yeah,
so sorry, but I can't."
right. Well,
So,
and maybe I don't know if that's, like, illegal or
I
not.
don't think that it is.
You don't think it's legal?
I don't think it's
Oh,
illegal.
okay.
I'm pretty sure
Yeah.
that you can park like, you can do that.
Mhm.
It's not like people are kinda
Yeah,
unhappy about it,
sure.
but, like, when you gotta go there, I'm sorry.
Yeah, right, right. Well, yeah, I wonder if that can be, like, just a known thing, like, hey, if you see someone double parking, that means that they're disabled, or, like, just have a sticker and you could
Mhm,
double park. I don't know, like, that would make sense too, and, like, for someone like you could double park in the back of the parking lot
mhm.
because you don't necessarily need to the close parking per se.
Yeah.
You just need to be able to get out your wheelchair and not
Mhm.
have someone park next to you.
Yep.
So,
Like, I can be a little bit farther, but I just need to get out. Like, I don't know, I've had some crazy times where, like, I got stuck by a car that parked
yeah,
next to me.
yeah,
So, I got in and I'm, like, maneuvering with, like, the door, like, this open this much. And
yeah,
I'm, like, trying to take it apart, like, get the chair in the car, and it's just a lot.
yeah, yeah, interesting. Okay, what about what's the weirdest thing a stranger has said or done while you've been disabled? Or one of the weirdest things?
Um, I've got, like, a recent interaction that, like, rubbed me, like, the wrong way.
Okay.
So I was at a restaurant and I drive myself. I get my chair in and out the car and I just like break it down and throw it in the seat next to me. And
Yeah,
I've gotten it down to like less than a minute. It's very quick that I can do it.
yeah.
So I was getting out and someone had came up to me and they were like, "Oh, do you want me to help you?" And I was like, "I really appreciate it, but thank you. I've got it." And they stopped and they were like, "Well, it would be a lot easier if you just let me help you." And I was like, "I really appreciate it, but no, I've really got it." And they stopped again and they were just looking and they were like, "Well, it really would." And so I'm like speed getting the chair together because I'm like, now
Yeah,
this is a competition.
right.
Because I promise you, like I can get it, I promise. And it's quick. And sometimes it's just harder, like explaining people how to do it. And then I'm like, no, like I promise I've got it. But it was like such a weird interaction. I was like, I really appreciate you trying to be helpful, but, like, now I feel like you just wanna help for yourself and
Yeah,
not for me.
right, you just don't wanna watch me do
Mhm,
this. Yeah, that's interesting. Well, and also, like, especially with loading your wheelchair in your
mhm.
car, like, an able-bodied person that has no experience with wheelchairs is not gonna be faster than
No.
you. Like, they don't know how the quick release of the wheel works and
Mhm.
taking that apart, and, like, you need to put your frame in a specific spot to get it up and over into the passenger seat,
Yeah.
and, there's no way that and then, like, so often people worry about getting grease on their car, and, like, if someone puts a wheel in your car the wrong way, they could get grease in, like,
Everywhere.
everywhere. Yeah, and so, like, there's so many different aspects that people just don't think about, and, that is interesting. When I was in high school, I had, an upperclassman ask me if I needed help getting my wheelchair in the car, and I had a car with a trunk, so
Mhm.
I needed to take apart my wheelchair and, like, turn it over upside down and
Yeah.
slip it in the trunk that way, and then the wheels would go in a certain spot, and so I was a big prankster in high school, and so this upperclassman asked me if I needed help, and I'm like, "Yeah, sure." I handed him the fully put together wheelchair, and then I just got in my car
Mhm.
and just waited, and, like, he came over to the driver's seat, and, like, he was like, "Hey, how do we get this apart?"
How do we do this?
I've only done that once, and I feel like that's mean. Someone's offering to help, and, like, I was just being a
There you go.
D-bag about it, right? Like
That's one thing, about my car. So, like, if I'm putting the chair in my car, I take it apart. But,
Yeah.
like, the whole chair fits in my back seat
Oh.
perfectly. Like,
Oh.
you don't have to take anything apart, and I don't have a big trunk, like, not a hatchback. Is that what it hatchback?
Hatchback, yeah.
I don't have anything like that. So I'm like, just put in the back seat when I have other people. But when I'm
Yeah.
trying to get the chair out, like, I can't get it out like that. And I've
Right.
had times where people have, like, helped me by putting the chair in the back seat, and then I can't get it out. I'm like, "I'm stuck. I'm
Yeah.
stuck. I don't know what I'm gonna do."
Yeah, you drop them off at their house, and it's still back there or
Yeah,
something like
put together.
Oh, oh, man. Have you ever had a wheel just roll off?
No. Luckily, I have not. I'm sure there will come a time, but luckily, no.
New fear unlocked.
Mhm.
It's happened to me, it's happened to a whole bunch of my friends too, in, like, I've had to, like, use my other wheel that I had as, like, kind of like a cane
Yeah.
to, like, go get my wheel or whatever
Mhm.
else, and oftentimes there's been people that have been, like, there to, like, help me out or
Yeah.
whatever else, but yeah, it's not the most fun situation. Um, yeah, so okay, I think the only other thing is, and maybe you answered that, but, like, what's the future hold for you? What are we looking at with that?
I plan on finishing my bachelor's program in communication,
Cool.
um, next fall, like, winter time. I would really, really, really like to make it into the next summer set of Paralympic Games, which is 2028 in LA.
Oh,
Now that might be realistic, it might not, but either way, I'll be training for that
heck
and
yeah.
getting in on my sports training. But yeah, just speaking, spreading awareness, continuing with my sports. I live a very fun life and it's like there's always something going on. So just continuing to live my life to the fullest
Yeah,
and just being able to give my all, be authentic, and
yeah.
just have fun while doing everything.
Mm, I love that. What's one thing you hope guests get out of us talking together?
I hope that it gives, like, a little bit of insight and perspective, like, we're just regular people at the end of the day, like,
Yeah.
we're regular people just like everybody else, and although, like, we might get from point A to point B a little bit differently, like, we're still putting in work, we just have a little bit of a different way of going about it,
Yeah.
but everyone's story is different, so, like, we're just regular people, and by hopefully watching the whole thing and learning a little bit more, like, it gives you a little bit more understanding, like, when you're out in public, like, if you see somebody in a chair, like, and you wanna ask them if they want help, then, like, like, how to go about it, like, respectfully and not being, like, offensive,
Yeah.
and just knowing, like, if you are newly injured or, like, you have a disability and you didn't know about all the opportunities that are out there for you, like, it's literally never ending. There's so many things you can do.
Yeah, I that's fantastic. Is there before we come to an end, is there anything else that you want to mention that maybe we didn't talk about or I missed in part of your story or anything like that?
I feel like Oh, one thing I do wanna say, I feel like a lot of times, like, when you deal with an injury or deal with a disability, like, you think that, like, literally you can't do a lot of things, but, like, travel-wise, exploring-wise, I've always been an adventurer.
Mm,
That has not stopped.
cool.
It has not stopped at all. Like, I've been to Jamaica, I've been on cruises, I've done a lot of things, and even when it's not accessible, I make it work. Like, if there is a will, there is a way,
Yeah.
and as long as people remember that, like, you can do whatever you want to. If you wanna go hike in the woods, hike in the woods. It's gonna be hard and it's gonna take some hours, but
Yeah.
hike in the freaking woods.
Yeah. Yeah, that is a great message. There's always some sort of
Mhm.
adaptation that you can make, in most things,
Yeah.
maybe the exception being firefighting, right?
Yeah.
Like, but yeah, that is an awesome message. And you're anybody listening is welcome to reach out to Micaiah or I, and
Yes, please do.
we can help out and guide you through all that. So, yeah, okay, cool. Anything else?
I think that's it.
Right. Well, I just want to say thanks for coming on. I know you and I don't know each other very well, and with Dan coming on the podcast and talking about you and winning the flying pig, I was like, I wanna talk to Micaiah. So, I just want to say thanks for coming on. It's in sharing your journey and being vulnerable um to having this be public
Mm.
essentially, and sharing that, because I know a lot of people might not, especially so. I mean, I know you're 3 years in, but I consider that still pretty
Yeah, it'll be
new
3
injury.
3 years in June.
Yeah,
So I'm like, it is still fairly early. So I always feel like I'm still learning a lot. And I'm
right.
like, I'm just a baby in this field. I don't know what's going on.
Yeah,
But thank you so much. I was really excited when I saw your message. I was like, oh my gosh, this is awesome. I've been watching. Yeah, I gotta go.
heck
So I
yeah,
really appreciate just everything, the conversation, and allowing me to share a little bit about myself and
yeah,
everything.
yeah. It's been fun. Final time. What do you think it is?
I'm gonna say like 2:58.
3:04 right now.
Okay, that was pretty good.
But I do want to ask, where can people find you?
Yeah, so on Instagram, you can find me at Mikiahya. It's just Mikiahya. And then my TikTok is the same thing, but with an underscore. And I think my YouTube is the same thing. And then Facebook is Mikiahya Greene with an E at the end. But I do post a lot of like my travel, some like days in my life, a few things like if you wanted to keep up with my story and stuff like that, you
Yeah.
can find me on all those places.
Yeah, cool. So yeah, we covered all the socials,
Mhm.
I believe. Is there any website that you want to throw out or anything like that?
Mm-mm.
Support the bridge, of
Yeah,
course.
I will say the bridge, the bridge, the bridge,
Yeah,
and you can check out UC's adaptive athletics program as well.
yeah, awesome. Anything else? Final words.
I think that's a wrap.
All right, cool. Well, everybody, thanks so much for joining the Rolling Forward podcast. If you like what you heard, please hit that like button, subscribe, and leave a comment. Tell us what stood out to you in this episode. What kind of takeaways are you gonna do with your own life after hearing Micaiah's story and all that. If you have any questions, please put it in the comments as well. And then also the shirt. It's you know what I can't stand, you know what I can't stand, and then it says punctuation matters. If you want to get a shirt like this, you can go to rollingforward.printful.me and you can pick up your own shirt. And it's my own created store that has a whole bunch of different shirts like the podcast logo or whatever else. So bunch of like humor, disabled humor, stuff like that. So if yeah, I think that's it. Thanks everyone for watching, and keep rolling forward. Thanks everybody. Bye.